Hello, 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 everyone, and thank you for joining me this morning, this wonderful, wonderful Monday morning. And with me, it's not only just me today. I also have a guest, the wonderful Adam Post himself.
Good morning, literature devil.
Hello, hello, Adam Post. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, fantastic. I love how you start your show.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. It's not usually everyone is feeling all that fantastic on Monday morning. I'm glad you are, and I'm glad I am.
Oh,
I'm
well,
hoping
you,
everyone in the chat is also.
yeah, you're a big part of that. I love your energy, man. Fantastic.
Awesome, awesome. Like to hear that. And I hear that you also have a book out on Indiegogo called College of the Dead.
Oh, that's the
And
word. Yeah.
the College of the Dead is the go word for today. Let's see here. Let's see. 1 second. And as far as I know, you have delivered before on books, right? This is not your first
Yeah.
one.
This is book one, College of the
Mhm.
Dead, and book two. Oop, there I am. Woo. There we- Hold still, College of the Dead, you damn zombie. Yeah, this is the first one. It's 140 pages in black and white. It's a zombie apocalypse. It takes place on a college campus, and we see the students struggle, and some get killed that you would never think would get killed. The professors are, of course, struggling with them too. Some great professors, some crazy professors, and it's really pretty wild. The characters, also the survivors, continue to book two. Some of them, of course, didn't quite make it. Yeah, so book two is College of the Dead Graduation Day. That one is going to be in full color. That one's 48 pages, and the story continues, and it's fascinating. It's like one of our main characters, Brendan. You get to see where he was like right before the apocalypse. We show in College of the Dead book one, and you see him at a party, and he's drinking and having a good time with another young student, and then all of a sudden she's running off at the party, and kind of freaks out a little bit, like something is up between the two of them. Now, not related to the apocalypse, just like, well, something kind of went wrong, maybe, and she felt uncomfortable. So he went to go run after her to talk to her, be like, "Hey, what happened? What happened?" And he runs into the zombie apocalypse. He runs into a pack of zombies. So then they get separated, and then the whole book, he's kind of trying to find her to kind of find himself and really understand like what happened. Is he a hero? Is she a victim? It's ambiguous, and he until he talks to her, he feels like he can't even decide who he is. So it's very cool. I really I like how the story all came together. You have so much opportunity in a war zone zombie apocalypse type of situation to tell stories.
It looks excellent, and it's been getting a lot of attention lately for some various reasons. But before we get into all that, because I really like this story around your story, not just your comic, but the story recently around
Mm.
your story. Before we get into that, because it's really delicious. It's really delicious. As a writer, I can't help but like and
Wherever I
trust
go,
karma.
delicious shall follow. Liturgy devil.
Fantastic. And as a writer, of course, I can't help but find karmic justice, delicious. It's fantastic. But before we get into that, let's wet everyone's whistle with your fantastic trailer because it's really top notch. I really like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it directly covers the story I just described.
Hmm.
And it was put together by Ted Zagaro. And we spent like 2 weeks on it. And he's fantastic. He's available to do other people's trailers too. Very reasonably priced. Great guy. But yeah, let's play it. I love it.
Awesome. Maybe for my next Doctor Alpha one, I'll get him. I'll get him on the job.
All right, you're just since we're in the business, we're talking about it. If any of you are comics creators, you think maybe having a trailer made, his flat fee is $250.
Not too bad. Not too
Yeah,
bad.
for 30 seconds to a minute. And he also did my campaign graphics for a much lower rate. So he really helped me with the whole presentation. And when we work hard on making our books and creating presenting our stories, it's important that we can talk about them well. But it's also really important that they just look well produced. So you want to have a nice presentation like that. So that was my passion for it. I just some people in the chat saying good morning to me. I just want to say hi back to you guys.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, wait for people to come in. Let's go ahead and check out this trailer, and then once we get more people in, hopefully, as people are waking up for this groggy Monday morning, we can really get more people in the audience to experience the wonderful morning nonsense I have prepared for everyone.
Nonsense
So,
is fantastic.
oh, everyone loves nonsense, especially in the morning. Especially in the morning.
It's the right time for it.
Let's check it out. College of the Dead trailer. If it's a little bit, Should be coming along pretty soon here.
Long trailer.
Go ahead and remove this.
Ooh.
It's almost like a TV show.
It's amazing.
Stuff.
You get pulled right into that. It's like you're stuck into a zombie movie. And I did it with a creative team. I didn't produce it myself. I have a really great artist, Javier Aranda. He drew the book for book 1, book 2, and all the covers. And Stefan Petruka actually script on it. We worked on the story together. And he's a writer for many years. So even just from the standpoint of the writing, it really feels like you're getting pulled directly into a zombie apocalypse. It's very immersive. But yeah, Ted did such a great job. I love it. And so I will never do a campaign without bringing Ted in on it again. So it it's so fun to put these things together and to have them come out that cool.
Really top-notch stuff, and it goes well with your top-notch looking work here. Fantastic. Let's see. Recently, as I mentioned earlier, your comic book recently came under some fire from some miscreants, some malcontents.
Some degenerates that would come after it and attack what they thought was a weak link, only to find that the weak link was what was the strongest element of what Comicsgate is.
Exactly. So I have a clip here that you and Ethan and Skyler were so generous enough to share. Let me sit here. Okay, so let's set the scene here. So this is for a clip from a stream put on by another comic book professional, an industry professional, an industry superstar, you might say at one point, Mike S. Miller, and his I guess odd job is 3-foot partner here. I think is Edwin Boyette, who is apparently
Edwin does this.
Was he 3'2" here? Was he?
You got to do it this way to understand Edwin's point of view. Yeah, I don't. No one understands why Edwin can't just move his damn camera like everyone else. It's not like it's so stationary, It's not like it's screwed into the wall or something. You can't move it a little bit, or he could sit up or something. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't know if this was on Mike's stream or if it was Edwin's stream, but this is a database that Edwin maintains meticulously, like some type of lunatic, to be honest with you, because he has no purpose for this spreadsheet. So he maintains a spreadsheet of exactly what everyone's sales are at all times in Comicsgate. So the two of them get together and try to justify why it's a good idea to not respect customers and to attack other comics pros. And that's what this is. So the two of them are looking at the sales of Comicsgate books very, very carefully. And it's funny because so Mike used to be part of the Comicsgate professional, social, and comics related promotion group. And then he decided he didn't want to do that anymore because for whatever reason, he didn't feel like it complimented him enough. He didn't get enough from it. Just couldn't get enough out of Comicsgate. So forgetting it as much as Mike has received from Comicsgate. And Edwin shall follow wherever Mike doth go. For whatever, the little ducky's got to follow the mama ducky.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, more or less, I guess. So in any case, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at a spreadsheet showing everyone else's sales, and they're just judging everyone else's sales and deciding who's doing well and not doing well. So Mike is the comics pro. He published a comic called Lone Star and actually shipped it. Did more than $100,000 thanks to Ethan Van Sciver's promotion, endless promotion of it to help Mike. And Mike did work as well. And then also you had after that you had Edwin, who Edwin is an unusual fella in that he's not really a comics professional. He doesn't publish. He's sort of a commenter about things, is just sort of as Mike's friend. And then Edwin also used to go on Ethan Van Sciver's show. But now the two of them kind of just get together and look at and criticize other people's sales, other people's comics. And there's a just seems to be a passionate desire to show that Comicsgate is not doing as well as Comicsgate presents itself to be doing. So that's the basic build up to this clip, is that the two, I'm getting scrutinized as someone who released a campaign recently through the Comicsgate network, and apparently my sales weren't sufficient enough to impress Edwin and Mike, the creator.
Master Mike Miller. That's
Master Mike, Mini Mike.
That's what he's called. Well, is that why he paired up with Edwin, because he was so short that he got someone even shorter than him to complement his miniature?
You know what? Maybe Edwin does that I just said maybe to appear that like, well, Mike is the tall one. I'm just a diminutive little fella. I don't know.
Isn't there a syndrome for that? I feel too tall. Everyone else has to be short. I mean, I feel too short. Everyone has to be shorter than me around me, or you can't be in here. If I'm standing, you all have to be sitting. If I'm sitting in a chair, I have to be in a higher chair than everyone else.
Yeah, it's conspiratorial, but I don't know what these guys are up to. There's no way to prove that if you take customers in any business and you make them feel unwelcome for any reason, that's not good. They're not going to want to buy more stuff from you. It's just like when you ship, like his book is currently late. If you're late on your current book, it damages the relationship. Even Ethan Van Sciver, like Cyberfrog was not perfect. He's talking on the fulfillment. It was a very big project. They're still doing the best they can, him and his wife, to complete every question, every detail. 99.999% of everything, I'm sure, is fulfilled by now. But yeah, people are uncomfortable a little bit, and you have to win them back a little bit if you shift a little late. He's doing fantastic on his new campaign, Wreck Planet. But it's
$400,000 almost as of right now. He only launched a few days ago, I think.
You invited me on your stream, and thank you for doing that. If I didn't thank you for that or show you that I appreciated that, of course you'd feel taken advantage of. So I mean, it goes to every relationship. But these guys want to try to prove that black is white and white is black.
Yeah, these people are with Comicsgate used to include Mike S. Miller and Edwin Boyette, but there was I guess there was a clash of egos here, and they kind of parted ways. And ever since, Mike S. Miller has been pulling some shenanigans in order to get his things funded. As you'll see, I'll point this out. It's pretty funny. It's pretty hilarious, especially since they derided you for quote unquote not succeeding as well as you should have been, or whatever. And they do nothing all day but complain about people they supposedly do not care about anymore. And I think the separation from Comicsgate, from where Mike S. Miller left, was because of the whole the views they hold, not necessarily the Christian views, but Mike S. Miller is part of that bandwagon who doesn't like homosexual customers buying their products, and he doesn't like the fact that Comicsgate doesn't also dislike homosexual customers. Is that true? Because I've heard him say something like that before. Like,
well, honestly, what his true feelings are, I don't think that he is even aware of. What he says and does is very offensive. And one of the things that brought the issue to a head was, I think it was in April of 2019. I could be remembering wrong, but there was a gay pride day. And just out of nowhere, Mike decided, well, let me see if I can just be cruel and attack people, and I'll just tweet "Pride is a sin" with a hashtag for Gay Pride Day. Or excuse me for not knowing the day. It's an important day to a lot of people. I can't keep track of even, like, I know my birthday, I know my son's birthday. It's about as far as it goes. But in any event, yeah. So he tweeted "Pride is a sin," and it's like that that as a part of someone who associates with Comicsgate, he does not give any consideration to the fact that, listen, if you want to be aggressive with your anti-people views, you can't do it in association with other people like the Comicsgate group. So Ethan got back to Mike and was like, look, you can't be Comicsgate and come on my show and make me have to constantly answer for you and your hijinks. He had hijinks prior to that. So Mike would just do stuff and then he would like run away and be like, well, I have big brothers, and kind of hide behind other people. And then the other people are constantly fighting his battles. But it just gets to the point where it's like, look, just cut it out already, because we don't, Comicsgate was fighting its own battles for not being SJW Comics. So we didn't need extra unprovoked battles, especially ones where you're trying to say that we don't want customers that live differently than we do or believe different things. No, we want customers, whoever can enjoy what we do. We absolutely want them as customers.
Yeah, all are welcome. All are invited to purchase any comic book that is produced by Comicsgate, as far as I know. And that's why there's been such division, because there was apparently a section of people who really want to gatekeep what kind of really want to curate what kind of people buy their comics, I guess.
It's just sort of like, you're not welcome in this here restaurant. Like, we don't run that kind of business.
We don't take kindly to your kind around
Yeah,
here.
we don't take kindly. It's like, what? You don't take kindly? You like zombies? I don't believe you. Well, you like zombies, but you're not the right kind of zombie likers. Like, what? They're not the right kind of zombie likers?
Adracious V, Comicsgate isn't homophobic and racist. It just wants good products. Wow, shocker. This is the first time I've seen a CG attack for not being homophobes.
Yeah, seriously. I
Yeah,
hope you're being facetious, man. But you know what? It's
yeah.
just and Doug TenNapel was right there along with Mike. So all right, so Doug TenNapel, the guy who created Earthworm Jim, was also a part of Comicsgate, but it was become really apparent that Doug TenNapel's goal really was just associate with a successful group of people who have access to a customer list of people who buy comics. Because Doug TenNapel had done his own crowdfunded books before, and he had done like $100,000 on Kickstarter. And but one thing you need if you're crowdfunding, you could always use more customers. So he sort of kind of floated along with Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan's just looking to bring more people in, to create momentum for direct to consumer sales through an ideals of Comicsgate that was just, we don't want political comics. We don't want to tell people how to live. We don't want poorly written propaganda driven stuff. We just want good comics like comics used to be from Ethan's point of view in the 1990s. But you make your best comics. Comicsgate, you make your best comics for whenever you are most passionate. And Lit Dev, I think you go back like me to the 80s in terms of where we really find our heart for comics, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I think so.
Yeah.
I really I mainly like the Neil Gaiman esque style, but
Mm.
also the I'm like I have a wide range of what I like in comics, but usually it's one of my favorites was the Punisher, but it kind of ranges from just violent to really thought provoking. And but as far as this whole predicament goes, I feel it's kind of like that song "Stuck in the Middle," and clowns to the left of me,
Yeah.
which to the
Joker to
right.
the right.
Yeah, Joker's to the right. It's on both sides, and I've always said this. I always said this on several streams before, that it's not the left, it's not liberals or whatever you want to call it. It's the censor. The censor is the mortal enemy of the artist, and it's not just the left. Not it's also the right on occasion also. It's not, so your enemy is the censor, not just one political side of a political spectrum. And as we can see here, so Comicsgate got kicked out. Comicsgate was made because of the aggression by the far left, but now it's also under attack because it's too accepting. It's coming under fire for being too accepting, apparently, from we'll say the far, not far right, but the
Well,
particular right.
there's a few people, and Doug TenNapel's one of them, Mike is one of them, that they keep justifying all of their positions and their extreme positions of like selecting the kind of customers they want, to be right in, so from some religious point of view. Like, well, God says this and God says that, to the extent that they're discussing it. At least Doug doesn't do that as much, I don't think, on his channel. But Mike is doing like religious shows on his channel. He's been doing it for a long time. And it's like, you know what? Everyone has a right to live their life the way they want to live. They can be assertive about their religion, but it's not appropriate to make people feel unwelcome. What
Right.
right do I have to make anyone feel unwelcome intentionally or unintentionally? So I try to respect people. Like, you have to, you have to respect people. And if you want to go and recruit people, then you win them over with you yourself as a living example. If you've ever, like, occasionally I'll go to like the supermarket, even these days, but not as recently, but every couple of months I'll meet someone either at the supermarket or at having lunch, and there are a few other like comic creators around, and you just notice the way someone moves, and they're just so elegant in their movements. And I'll ask, like, you know, are you a martial artist, or and I'm not a martial artist. I could be one, but I'm not a martial artist. But you notice just someone's elegance in their movements, or you notice that someone is just really caring or a cool person, and I'll inquire sometimes. And so a caring person. I met one person who was at a register at a Walmart, and it turns out that they were also a healthcare worker, and studying to be like a licensed nurse in addition. It's like, oh, that's so cool. But the martial artist people, I tend to be able to pick out because they're just, again, just so elegant in their movements, so interesting. That's how you do it. You set an example by your being. And like, if you're so at peace, if you're so passionate, if you have so much great energy, then you want to know more about that person and some of their faith and their life choices, and who they are and what they're doing. That's really how you have to do it. It can't just be from you know
People,
trapping people.
people I like. Only people I like can buy my stuff. What kind of idea is that? Doesn't make any sense.
It's really limiting things.
Well, I
I
think,
want
as
to.
far as I know, that is what Mike S. Miller is doing. Only his friends and stuff are buying his stuff at the
Well,
moment.
they have to. He also wants them to buy for the right reasons. You
Oh
know, you
yeah.
you have to appreciate him as an artist. You have to accept what he says on Twitter, that like Todd McFarlane is not that good of an artist. Even Van Sciver is supposedly not that good of an artist. He's a better artist. He really knows because he's an artist. Like, what are you doing making those comments? You don't get to actually even say that as an artist. You get to show
Exactly.
your work and then let me, as a consumer, look at your work and say, this is the best thing I've ever seen. You know,
I don't mind if you buy Dr. Alpha, for example, for all the wrong reasons. It's it's fine with me.
yeah, well, my brother is a doctor. So, maybe I would buy the book and just give it to him, be like, hey, look, he's a doctor too. Like, that would give him a great kick.
Mhm.
And for what you charge, that's a reasonable purchase. But so what? We're not into the story enough. My brother is not enough of a comics fan to read your book. So don't you dare buy that book. So it's just such an absurdity. And if you're interested in spreading the good word, if you want to share information or share insight, you could do that through telling a personal story without all this heavy-handed silliness about, well, God says this, and chapter 14 of section 3, or whatever it is that they're reading, code books or Bibles or whatever these guys are doing. Just so unnecessary. It's not helping anyone.
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
inspiring anyone.
And so the scene here, where we're to get back to Mike S. Miller and Edwin Boyette, what they're doing in this stream is that these people have broken away from the movement called Comicsgate, which is a movement of consumers who are tired of the NPC agenda being injected into everything and dissolving all the good stuff you love in comics, like they did with everything else in entertainment these days. And they have broken away from that movement, and they are now spending time, not really producing anything, even though they have. Mike S. Miller has produced a lot of campaigns, just not a lot of product, but they spend a lot of time trying to spin and tell lies so that they can harm other indie creators because they happen to be in association with other people that they do not like, and you happen to be you happen to fall under the gaze of Sauron here. The eyes of Sauron has come upon you recently, and we'll see what they say about this. Because when I think before this video, when they were saying this, they were talking about your campaign, the one we just showed, and we'll see what they have to say about it. Let's check it out. See what the Master Mike Miller and his odd job partner here
Odd job. I love that. That's great.
have to say. So let's check out. Let's see what they have to say. It's a delicious chat. It's delicious. So pay attention to chat. You're gonna like this. You're gonna really like this because if you are a fan of karmic justice, then you will really like what rabbit hole we're about to jump into. So check it out. Oh, before we get started, Hicks Harper, thank you very much for the $4.99. I like you because you buy my stuff. Is that so hard for some people to understand? Yeah.
I'm ready to like all of you right now on a
Yeah, it's
deep, deep
fantastic.
spiritual level. All you have to do is just be yourselves. But beyond that, if you buy the book, it's always appreciated. I send everyone a personal thank you when they back my campaign, and some people are surprised to get it. It's like, are you kidding? Of course I appreciate you.
Yeah, it's
How do
awesome.
you
I mean,
not appreciate the people that are making it possible for you to do like your dream passion projects?
exactly. It takes a lot of trust to just back one of these, and that's understandable, and I acknowledge that. And I want to make sure that everyone has a high value, which is why I pumped up Dr. Alpha to 112 pages, and I already released a 10-page comic, Lady Midnight, for everyone to read while they wait for Dr. Alpha.
Oh,
And
cool.
I've released a digital one anyway, digital version, and I'll release it again once I have something else. Well, I have
Mhm.
something
Yeah, yeah,
new
yeah.
coming
No,
along the
there's
lines.
more exciting things coming from Literature Devil,
From
and
Dr. Alpha.
and Literature Devil's focus for Dr. Alpha is just to make a great book, be able to be proud of it for the rest of his life. I mean, that's the level of work that we're trying to do, and ultimately, if we feel like if we take care of our fans, of our readers, and make them really happy with what they get from us, then we're going to have a great future making more comics. And eventually, we make great money doing it. I mean, the money will follow, but the work has to come first. The promise has to come first, then the appreciation, and then repeat, 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 and then the success will come from there.
I like this bar one streaming. I like you because you like my stuff, the e-thought mantra. And then if I give you the artist enough money, we're in a relationship. The mantra of every simp. It's
Mm.
the two sides of the same coin there.
That's interesting. That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know. You have to judge people's sincerity. We're not going to be telling people how to live too. We're going to be telling people we hope you really do like it. And it's interesting because I have published comics for many years. Really, I published comics on and off for more than 30 years. I started as a teenager and I was in comic stores, and I have always tried to do my best, but I'm doing better than my best for everything I'm doing for Comicsgate because it's just impossible not to. This direct to consumer relationship where people get to criticize anything you do, you better damn well do it right. Because if not, you lose people's interest and you lose their interest in supporting you in the future. But also because you get so much just direct positive feedback when you do something right, it's always worth it to just go that extra step as long as
Exactly.
it doesn't damage the project. As long as
Oh
it's not
yeah.
like, well, all right, instead of 112, we're just going to do 312. Like, well, hold on a second. That's no joke. You can't just do that. You have to be really, really careful about what we put into our projects to make sure that they're viable.
Exactly. Well, here's a good question for you. Cassin Kasai asks Adam Post, how much is the relationship tier on your comic?
Vassin, I don't know what country you're from, but I know I've seen you around on my channel too. AdamPostSpeaks.com. Definitely subscribe. Um, Yes, it doesn't cost anything to have a relationship tier. It's so cool because with the chat, we have relationships in the chat. Like I've seen Vassin before. I've seen Yor Mongar. I Worm. I don't know what's the correct way to pronounce that, but I see a lot of these names. Fenrir. I don't think I've ever communicated with. Maybe I've seen the name before, but it's so cool because yeah, you get to just talk to people, get their ideas. Then there are some people that really stand out with crazy, funny comments, like Deadwood Dale. I don't know if you've had him around lately, but he's funny as heck. Finland. Okay, so because you're from Finland, you must know Tommy, who does comics for everyone. Of course not, but maybe.
Let's check it. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Let's see what Master Mike Miller, Odd Job have to say, and then we'll get right into the comic justice. It's fantastic.
Hmm.
From all
Okay.
from all appearances, he's doing all the things that Comicsgate says to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes all those videos. He goes on all the live streams. And he's only got 90 backers.
That's the power of Comicsgate, Edwin.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I'm quoting Ethan.
yeah.
Well, we'll see what the power of Comicsgate is. So when this video was out, what was you said you had 90 backers, and do you remember what your campaign was at?
Absolutely, I do. That's the interesting thing about it. So these guys, it's just like, let's just make comments. So the first thing is my campaign was at $5,400. Yeah, it was about that, 5,400. I did have about 92 backers. I don't know what time of the day it was. I do comic book publishing as part-time work. I have less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I do appear on YouTube channels. I'm welcome often on Ethan Van Sciver's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, but I don't always promote whatever book I'm doing currently.
Right.
This book was not even available, College of the Dead graduation day, when I was on Ethan's stream most recently. The first stream I was on of Ethan's was when this book was available, was the day that Ethan launched Cyberfrog Wreck Planet, his sequel. And you have to respect other people's platforms. Like Mike doesn't, I guess, but I have to. That's just the way I kind of am. So I was invited on. Now, Ethan invited me on to help promote Wreck Planet. He invited a few of us on. I always try to make myself available if I see that he's looking for other Comicsgate people to be on his channel to talk or do something, because that means he wants other people there. He's not doing it as a favor to us. So he needs help at that moment. So that's why I'm always there at that moment. So while we were launching Cyberfrog, Wreck Planet, sure, if there would have been a time where Ethan would have said, "Hey, Adam, do you have any other campaigns running?" Because I had not been on any major platforms, not on his channel, not on John Malin's channel, not on Tug, not on Yellow Flash. So all those include, not on your lovely channel, all of those included, so Ethan is promoting Wreck Planet. He's blown away by the success of it, and he's talking about it constantly. And I'm sharing the moment with him, and we're talking to the audience. That's my focus. When he's launching his major, it took him a year to prepare to do that project. He's been talking about it for a year.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I did not have a lot of exposure. I just had the backers from my prior campaign. Now, interestingly, I had been at that point running the campaign for about 10 days. And I raised the $5,400 so far. My prior campaign, College of the Dead Book 1, raised $5,300 after 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I was running at like 400 or 500% more revenue from a 10-day comparison to a 60-day comparison. So it was actually, for my numbers, doing very, very well. And it was well in excess of my goal. So, and that was, again, before Ethan helped me promote on Comicsgate, Comic Artist Pro Secrets, College of Dead Book 1 a couple of times. I was on his show a few times. And that book ultimately, after 8.5 months, I did the math last night for a video. After 8.5 months, I raised 10,000, like 36 weeks. So that's where I was. 8.5 months, we raised $10,600.
And
now,
you said how much money did you have when you said when that video that we just watched was
when the video was done? I had 5,400, which took me 2 months to raise, and had been on Ethan's show a number of times already.
And how much? And how much? Let's see. And how long ago was that video done? It was done just a few days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that video was done. Fortunately, the video was done last Thursday, and then Ethan reached out to me later that night, because the thing is, Ethan knows I'm really helpful in the Comicsgate network, and I help other people out. I help him out. I help anyone who asks, and try to put out good information with videos and help build us all up together, because we are all in this together. And and then Ethan had me on now to explain, I think, my situation, but also to explain, like, don't attack Comicsgate just because Adam only had 90 backers at that moment. And that, people like Mike and Edwin apparently had no idea what Comicsgate was capable of doing.
That's the power of Comicsgate, Edwin.
Yeah.
Actually, no. This is the power, because as soon the second that video was seen, you went on, and the power of Comicsgate came to you. You had the power. You're He-Man, the He-Man of Comicsgate for a few minutes.
I was on Wenger's channel because I do a show with Wenger, Wangcast, if you want to search it up. Wangcast on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and it's just fun. We just do fun stuff. Wenger has all the best cringy videos. He loves TikTok, and it's like they're just a fun, great bunch of guys and a great chat. So it's great to contribute to that show, and I'm happy to be on it. So I was on it at the time, and then after I got off the show, like I saw this guy calls himself Death Pusher. He's a war campaign guy, and he did this tweet where he showed the comments between the two of these guys, and I had no idea what was going on. I started to hear about it, and then Ethan pulled me in to talk about it, and it's just so. I mean, look, the thing is, you get what you earn. It's a merit-based system, Comicsgate, and that's what you want to make. That's what you want to do. You don't want somebody's uncle, or you don't want to tap somebody else's mailing list or something like that. The idea is go in, communicate with people, tell them what your project is, get better and better at promoting your project, and find people who are really interested. Don't judge them based on their religions or how they choose to live their life. If they want to be a customer, fantastic, respect your customer, and then deliver your book when promised in top quality condition. That's the mission. So Ethan had me on, and John Malin was on as well, and we just were on for I was on for 30 minutes. We spent about 15 of those minutes talking about my project, and we did something like $3,000 in a day from the 15 minutes, which is ultimately why? Because Ethan has a huge audience that Mike, when he was part of Comicsgate, the artist, used to rely on to pay his bills, and we're very willing to and happy to pay his bills, because he was part of Ethan's circle. He was part of the show. Ethan has more than 100,000 subscribers, 130 or something like that he's cultivated, who are passionate about comic books and enjoy Ethan's show.
Oh yeah. He always gets a huge uproar. I mean, it gets a lot of attention. Every time he goes on, every time he speaks. Every word, even the people who hate him, they hang on every word he says. It's kind of creepy.
Well, you mean the enemies part.
Oh yeah, the enemies, the people who hate him. They hang on every word he says. They just hang around all day, just waiting for him to tweet. It's really creepy. The way people obsess over him.
Yeah, it is funny.
Angel of the Sword, thanks for the $9.99. It can be tricky to play the toleration game. If a business partner is being provocative and we choose to shut him up, are we now the censor? Or rather, was he guilty for the ones censoring customers? Well, if he was censoring customers, I think it's the right thing to do to stop him from censoring customers.
Well, the problem is, we all know what gay pride is. Mm. So when gay pride is going around on Twitter, now, if you're someone who is a hater or whatever, if you're someone who's like, look, I don't approve of that. All right, you don't have to approve of that. No one's saying that everyone shall now adopt this life. That everyone must now take a month and live the other lifestyle or live another way. No one's saying that. It's just saying, look, if people are happy for, they're proud of themselves, whatever their situation is, they acknowledge themselves. So if someone's going to tweet, pride is a sin, hashtag gay pride, now you're attacking a community, saying you have no right to be in my Twitter feed. No, people have a right to say what they want to say and create their own hashtags. If you don't want to see it, you can actually go in. Twitter has a variety of settings, and you can block certain things. You can block certain phrases, certain words. You can do that. It's not that complicated if that really is so devastating. But the problem is when you go and you attack a community of people, and then you you associate with other people very closely, those other people are responsible for it. So people would blame Literature Devil if Mike was still involved, and all of a sudden he decided he had a race problem with certain people, or whatever. It'd be like, well, why would you be part of that? And the thing is, it sounds a little bit like extreme. Like, well, why would people judge Adam or Literature Devil for something that Mike Miller would do? But this stuff happened again and again and again. I'll give you an example. There's a fan club that I think if it's the best description of them, who also are heavy promoters of Comicsgate creators, new creators. They're a heavy promoter of me when I first came in and had absolutely no connections with anybody, called War Campaign. They call themselves War Campaign. So War Campaign would get into disputes with Mike Miller over certain things. There was some concern that the War Campaign guys had that maybe Mike Miller couldn't afford to print and produce all of his books, and there was something funny going on. Now, why does War Campaign care about something like that? Because War Campaign cares that Comicsgate doesn't get a reputation for selling comics and not delivering them, and for customers, because that affects all of us.
Yeah.
So if, God forbid, one of us, if Ethan didn't ship Cyberfrog, it would have been devastating to people associated with #Comicsgate. So Edwin and Mike tried to, quote, cancel War Campaign. And then basically put together a bunch of stuff that wasn't true and tricked Ethan with it. But one of the things that really struck me was when Edwin and Mike decided, okay, War Campaign is about to criticize Mike publicly too much about Mike's financial dealings, which did seem a little bit sketchy at the time. And what Edwin said, and I was just shocked at this because this is before Edwin displayed himself to be such a strange fellow. Edwin said, listen, if Comicsgate doesn't get rid of War Campaign, and he said this publicly in multiple tweets, then everyone should close their wallets to Comicsgate. So saying, like, if anyone else associates with Comicsgate, Edwin is telling people, do not buy their comics. Don't buy them. Don't buy them. Don't buy them. And here's someone who no one knew who he was before. No one knew Edwin Boyette. Maybe his wife knew him, a few people in Hawaii they live with. Fine. But here he is. Everyone knew who he was because he was welcome on Ethan's channel. Ethan made him like a celebrity. Ethan made him like a household name in independent comics. And here he is using that power and that influence that Ethan gave him, that platform, to all of a sudden say, well, if you don't do what I say, you should not buy Comicsgate comics. That affected me. I had just launched my campaign. It was like June of 2019. I just launched my long journey of getting College of the Dead to $10,600. And I was like, what the hell is this? How is someone going to say, don't buy other Comicsgate comics because there's something wrong with these people? They need to live to my moral standards. And that's when it becomes like, well, you can't do that. And that's where Ethan has to look at it and say, I have to be really careful about who I'm going to elevate to some level of popularity, and not
kind of connected to them from then on.
Yeah, can they handle success? Like Mike Miller couldn't handle success. Edwin Boyette couldn't handle success. How irresponsible to say, if someone doesn't do what I want them to do, that let's ruin all these small creators and let's ruin everybody's businesses. First of all, to think that they even possibly could, but they could hurt us all a little bit, which is...
Yeah, as far as I've seen, Marcus Miller hasn't been able to ruin one person's business, and that would be his own.
Yeah, he's been very good at that.
So
he's been very good at that.
Let's retread over the line, the timeline here. First of all, you came out with a comic book called College of the Dead, and then it had about 90 backers, as they said in the video. Then they came out, Edwin Boyette and Marcus Miller came out with a video that says, oh well, he goes on all the streams, he does everything he's being told to do that they say to do. And,
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you just one thing, just to highlight one thing.
Sure.
It took me 60 days after even being on Ethan's show, like probably 4 times, and then several other smaller shows. It took me 60 days to get 100 backers. 60 days. I had 10 backers at the same dollar revenue average. It was about $55, $56 per backer on average. It took me 10 days, not 60, 10 days to get 90. Isn't that good? Like you guys,
That's a huge improvement. That's a
meth
huge
is not math. That's what I say. Meth is not math. Like I don't know what these guys are on. I have no idea. But
I think Edwin Boyette, I heard, he gets really mad when you call him Methwin.
it was a nickname. It just people are trying to understand his crazy fake laughs and wild changes in behavior. We have no idea what's going on personally with any of these guys. But yeah, they develop a nickname. He acts like he might be on drugs. He acts like he might be on
He
drugs.
gets
To
really
us,
mad that people even associate with. He wanted to sue people over internet stuff.
he's still suing people. He's got new lawsuits he's coming out with
He's
because
got a team of lawyers. He's ready to take everyone's money. He's ready to take everyone to
you know
court
what?
because he made a joke about him on the internet.
Lit Dev, if we have time, you ought to play Cecil's new video too on Cash Grab.
Oh, I saw that was
Oh
all
my
the
God,
diagrams
it's
and
funny.
everything.
Yeah, and
That's
Edwin's in that, or a parody of Edwin, or maybe not Edwin at all, but it looks a hell of a lot like him.
awesome. I think I saw it. If that's the one I'm talking about, it does. It looks exactly like him before he cut his hair.
And they cut his hair because War Campaign told him it looked silly.
Yeah,
The-
then he cut it.
I thought his hair was, if you're of a certain age, shall we say, if you're 45, I'm 49, oh, I'm 50 now. But if you're of a certain age and you have hair like that, keep it, man. Don't cut it. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's
No
lucky to
matter
still
what
have
these
it.
guys say, it's
He's
ridiculous.
Edwin Boyette is lucky to still have that much hair.
Yeah.
At his advanced age. So
It's
let's see.
privilege. Anyway, to answer your question, sorry for the interruption, but yeah, I did 100 backers. It took me 60 days. It wasn't easy to get those backers. It was not easy.
Oh,
It's not like all you do is say your comic skate and be on Ethan's show, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, money just rains on you.
You wouldn't be
No.
you would be surprised how many people actually believe that. Oh, I'm just gonna start a comic, get on Ethan's show, and then I'll be set for life. And that's not how it works, unfortunately.
I do a series called Secrets of the Comic Skate Network, and I've done about 30 of those videos. And I just talk about the background. I have 30 years of indie publishing of comics, but also like now 2 years of comic skate publishing. And I pass along the knowledge that I know and make any salient points that I can. And a lot of people have told me that they appreciate those videos. I am hearing less and less people that say like, all right, I'm just going to make a comic, get on Ethan's show. I think people are starting to understand, like, you know what, it's a road. No one just, quote, gets on Ethan's show. With very limited exception. If he's someone that he personally knows, a creator like Dan Fraga or Billy Tucci, and I'm sure there are a few other potentials of people that could, just kind of waltz right in like that. But still, everyone's got to sell their own comic.
Yeah, I mean, it's your business. He helps people, but it's your business at the end of the day. It's your responsibility.
Oh,
if you want to succeed.
Tyler just mentioned Adam Post just earned himself a new backer.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully it was
Very
you, Tyler,
nice.
or if you just keep an eye on things, thanks for doing that.
A new backer. Awesome.
Yeah, the whole thing is every single person makes a difference the way we do our comics.
Every single person is valuable. Every single customer is valuable.
Lit. I would encourage you when you have time. Hope I can call you that. I hope when you have time, take a look at the stream that I did last night. It was straight up. It was like absurd because YouTube is crushing notifications now.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So I had normally we have a couple hundred people see the stream right away. There was like 30 people, which was fine. But it was me, another creator, Vinny Tortomella, and also the Magic Cop guy, Phil, and Spartan Scotsman, who's the colorist for this manga comic Xenotype. It's also a CG book. And we had one person in our chat that was new, this person that called themselves Lefty Sock, with like the funniest icon ever. Like it just kept mesmerizing me. But anyway, so Lefty Sock was like, well, hey, what's Comicsgate? And we're like, well, I mean, it's a Comicsgate stream. You kind of understand what it is, right? And they're like, no, I buy comics on Wednesdays at my local store. So there was this one person, and all four of us were like, well, let us show you this. Let us show you that. And hey, Comicsgate is like this. We were all like, it would be great if we make a sale, but we're all passionate about just kind of communicating like, hey, you're a comics person. This is what we're trying to do. So we were all just kind of falling over ourselves. And then we found out that Lefty Sock person loves feet. And he's like, well, are there feet in these comics? And we're like, all right, we'll treat it seriously because, I mean, that is the guy's name. And so it got a little silly, but it was that is the spirit of Comicsgate, is to appreciate the customers to that level where it's like literally any one person that shows up and says, hey, you know what, I might be interested. What are you guys doing? How does this work with Indiegogo and crowdfunding? And there we are, taking the time and the energy to tell them it's a privilege to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's always fun to when people ask and they're willing to listen, and you get to see how people react, and you get to see them. Oh, so that's what it is.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Like they ask about crowdfunding and like, are they all ready to ship right now? And then we have to kind of explain, well, look, each campaign's a little different. Usually if the campaign's still running, they're not available to ship just yet. In demand, a lot of times they can be. You have to look at the different ship dates. But yeah, it's it was amazing. It was a great moment. It was kind of like a little bit of a slow stream, but until Lefty Sock came along, and it was like, how cool, Lefty. And at the end, I forgot to. And then at the end, Lefty Sock was like, because I mentioned, please subscribe to my channel because I'm looking to build up subs. And Lefty Sock was like, I subscribed, and that was like the end of the show. It was like, perfect.
Fantastic.
Right up at the end.
Lady Gravemaster, thanks for the 5. Standards are important in writing and in life, but if a person is not willing to hold themselves to those standards, they shouldn't be preaching them. Exactly.
Yeah, that it means nothing. Lady's right. It means nothing. And look, to not have standards is to have no way to evaluate how things are going. There's no way to improve your life if you don't have standards or your writing.
I mean, if you stop believing in standards, all of a sudden you're saying objective criticism doesn't exist anymore, and you're saying how The Last Jedi is a masterpiece, and if you don't like The Last Jedi, we can't be friends, and you're a moron, and so forth.
If you give up merit on any level, if you give up merit, you're giving up your humanity. You're giving up a way that to separate your ability to strive and to do better and to improve. I hope that I've improved at what I'm doing, over the last several years in as many categories as my life is possible. I can't choose to be a great writer. I have to be proven to be a great writer if that's what I want to try to do. You kind of have to be told. The work has to speak for itself. You don't get it because some friend of yours has a big YouTube channel, or even because you make a lot of money. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the work.
Exactly. And here we go.
You gotta have 3. You gotta have 3. It doesn't count.
Oh yeah. Obviously, the rule of 3. You have to have
Rule of 3 always.
And so the timeline is this: Master Mike Miller and Oddjob were destroying, criticizing your campaign. Is criticizing it, saying, "Oh yeah, look, this is Comicsgate is dead. No one likes to buy these comics anymore." And you do all the stuff all the stuff you're supposed to be doing on the streams. It's participating in this and participating in that, and then you're apparently quote unquote not getting the stuff, not getting the amount of success you're supposed to be getting. You only have, I think, 90 backers, they say.
I was an example of failure. They thought they could exploit. I was some sort of a weak link. Comicsgate has always been very upfront. Like the guys who've been doing it a while have always been very upfront, saying, listen, if you don't have 10,000 subscribers, do not launch a new comic. That's what they've been saying. If you can't do at least $25,000 on a campaign, you cannot make a comic. Now, that was from the point of view of the biggest of the big guys. And it's a valid point of view. You can't make a living selling one comic that does $10,600. I haven't tried doing that. It's not going to work. I know it doesn't work. One of our most successful campaigns is a book called Monster MD from Von Klaus. $70,000+. Very successful single first campaign. That's not a living either. You can't just make one comic and generate $60,000, $70,000, even $100,000 for a year. After all the costs are done, that's not. You can't really survive on that. So
exactly.
But Comicsgate is so healthy that as a part-time project, if you know what you're doing, if you can control your costs, I've seen people that do a $2,000 project. Like I like mentioning these people, Grim Reaper 2 from Whitecap Grim Reaper 1, and now they're doing 2. Book 1 did $1,795. They didn't know anybody. They've been on some of the YouTube shows now. You might want to have them on some point, Carla and her husband. In any event, they completed their first book. They shipped the book on time, even though they had a personal tragedy or a fire in their home. They shipped their book on time. And then they came back with Grim Reaper 2, which is now like $2,300 plus. and it's bigger than the first one. So what is that? The power of Comicsgate? Yes, the ability that it works at the small level and at the big level.
And then you grow, like your College of the Dead book did. It grew, and you didn't need a big YouTube channel. You just produced a quality product. And the Edwin Boyette and Michael Smith are criticizing you and saying that you are a failure because you did not get as many backers or as much success as everyone else.
And this is the level of evil supervillain with these guys. Like, it's not just that, quote, I was failing and showing it's that it demonstrated, listen, it's Comicsgate. Obviously, Comicsgate doesn't work
The
if
whole
this
movement
guy
was failing.
if this guy has 90 backers. No, Mike, you just take for granted that because of the popularity that Ethan Van Sciver made of you and exposure he gave to your project and the funness that he attached to your really not fun personality, because Mike used to be a lot of fun on Ethan's show because Ethan would tease him and stuff. He made him appear fun. Mike had over 3,000 backers on Lone Star 2, all of which, or probably 90% of which, are saying, hey, you were supposed to ship in October 2019. Then you said you're going to ship now in March 2020. Where's my book? But yeah, having 3,000 backers is great. It's not because of just the project. It's how you're participating in this community of people when it is these communities of people that are buying your stuff.
Exactly.
There we go.
3. And so he wanted you Mike S. Miller wanted to tout you as a complete failure and as a weak link in this movement.
Mhm.
And while you were succeeding, there was something else going on with Mike S. Miller's campaign. Well, no, not Mike S. Miller, but Mike Miller's campaign. Right? This is an important distinction.
No, not Mike S. Miller. He's not allowed on Kickstarter.
So
Mike
this is
Mike Miller is allowed.
There's a project called Bless This Meth. Bless This Mess. And it was produced by a stranger, a complete stranger called Mike Miller, who is actually just the pseudonym of Mike S. Miller. And he this is a comic book strip. This is supposed to be like in the essence of, I think, Calvin Hobbes. I'm not gonna play the video. I tried watching this video. It is the most boring video I have ever had the displeasure of viewing. So I'm not gonna put you through all that. But it's basically a comic book strip. It looks like something you would see in the newspaper. It was like this. And while at the same time you were succeeding, you're breaking $10,000 and you're getting
this was crazy. So Saturday night, Cecil. So Cecil is a person and a character who dresses like Captain Chaos from the Dom DeLuise from the Burt Reynolds movies, and he's a really funny guy. He has a great heart, and he, after 2 years of spending hours and hours and hours and hours having fun with the Comicsgate guys, and he has his own show called The Jack Show with John Mela and a couple of other cool people. But anyway, after promoting and getting fans, Cecil finally launched his own campaign, and we were closing out Cecil's campaign our Saturday night. Or I wasn't originally, but they decided to have me on because of the incredible, talk about God, inspirational timing of all of it. So they were closing out the campaign, meaning that the campaign was going to run out that night, and Ethan wanted to do a big popular live stream, get as many eyes on Cecil's campaign at the end of the campaign, because they wanted Cecil to get past $150,000. And they were on for about 4 hours or so. I was watching it, and what they were starting to talk about, and some of his chat was asking about, like, hey, what that Adam Post guy, what's going on with him? So they started looking at my campaign, and my campaign by that time, I think, was up to, it was amazing because the campaign had almost doubled since that prior Thursday. This is just Saturday. So it was like $9,400 or $9,500 of just, a sale so far. And then the chat, then they started looking at my campaign. Well, coincidentally, Bless This Mess was doing whatever it was, about 6,300 and change, and was ending the same night as Cecil's campaign. Now, Mike's goal for Bless This Mess was $10,000. So he wasn't getting to his goal. They were watching, so it was unfortunate, but it was like entertainment watching Mike's campaign not get funded. So then they were like, well, I don't know. Mike's not getting Adam's campaign to 10,000. Yeah, let's get Adam's campaign to $10,000 while Mike's campaign can't get to $10,000. And then they're like, yeah. So it was trolling because, like, well, what is Mike doing attacking Adam? Like at the time, Mike's campaign was like at 5,300, and my campaign was also at like 5,300 last Thursday. So it's like, what are you? I only had 90 backers. He had 113. So what's the argument there? Like, or 112? Because what was funny about that was as I got on, and then I was on Ethan's stream, and people were backing it. Ethan played my trailer. You guys have seen my trailer. It's a great trailer. You know, I was talking about the book, College of the Dead, Graduation Day, and we started to do really well. And then I had realized in the last 2 minutes, I was like, you know what? Let me back Mike at least. Let me go and try and back Mike on Kickstarter. So within the last 2 minutes, I was the 113th backer. I backed his campaign for an additional $28, which I think ultimately gets refunded to me because
I'm not even sure. I think Kickstarter takes your money after it gets funded.
Yeah, I think so. So I guess that expense will not happen. So then Mike failed to fund, and I got to spend another couple of hours on Ethan's live stream. We had a great time. We sold more copies of College of the Dead. College of the Dead Graduation Day did break Mike's $10,000 goal. It wasn't my goal. My goal was only 3,000 because my book's completely done. That's how I like to produce things. So I don't take the money and then produce the book. In my case, I like to produce my comics in advance. So this way, for me, the production is that much easier. So my book is already completely done, ready to go. And I also knew that even if we did a $3,000 goal and we only raised 3,000 because of my other campaign, I knew we would sell more books over time. It's not a risk. So yeah. So my campaign just continued to fund and was hugely successful. And then I went over and I super chatted my
super chat message deleted. I saw that.
Yeah, they deleted my message. It just said "Thanks, guys" from Adam Post. They deleted that.
They deleted all the messages. They deleted every single message or something like that.
Yeah, they deleted like every message because there were people that were trying to be supportive to Mike, saying, "Hey, stay resilient. You'll get it next time." But the whole thing of it too is like I didn't even understand why he was doing this book. He's already has 2 other campaigns he needs to fulfill from Indiegogo.
Because he's already spent all the money. He needs more. He needs more money.
I don't know if that's honestly, I don't know if that's the case. And people bring that up and they're like, well, the money must be gone. So he's got to try to raise money from somewhere. But even if this campaign made $15,000, bless this mess, that's not enough of a blessing to pay the shipping on Lone Star too. No. So I don't know what is going on. I've been in publishing a long time. So there are ways of figuring things out. Even if you don't have all of the money to do everything, there's ways of communicating with people to talk. If you made a mistake, you tell them you made a mistake, but you got to sort through the problem and address the problem. Communicate with people. If you need a favor, you can ask for a favor. You know, you can communicate about it. Also, especially because the Comicsgate people, like we're always sitting on the sidelines waiting to help each other get things done.
Oh yeah, I know that specifically. I'm especially with the Martina Marcota. Everyone was there to rush to her aid when she says, "I have no idea what I'm doing," and she didn't, unfortunately. But everyone ran to help her. It was really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I was on a 2-hour stream with her, talking with her and her audience about it. And I've talked with her since, and she's got a really good plan for moving forward. But the truth of it is she's got to execute on the plan. Oh, yeah. You know, a plan is only as good as the people that are executing. So we'll see. And I'm there to support her if she asks me any questions. But she's got to proceed and do what she has to do. I happen to think she's got a very viable character there with Lady Alchemy.
She's built it up for a long time. Let's see. Yeah. Jack, thanks for the 5. Do you know why SJWs and other far left types are afraid of women with breasts, especially women with large breasts? It's kind of disturbing. It's vanity. It's jealousy and vanity. They want to say that we're protecting women by not showing beautiful women in comics, but it's vanity. It's jealousy. It's kind of like You have what I want, therefore you cannot be anywhere.
They're looking to avert the male gaze. That was part of,
That's the
I don't,
excuse.
Lit. I don't know how much you were involved. Got into covering. You must have covered this. The Birds of Prey movie.
Oh yeah, I covered a little bit of it. Yeah.
Did you cover where the director said that they deliberately shot the whole thing to avert the male gaze?
I think I did. I think I covered an article on that where she specifically wanted to make the movie hideous. Apparently,
Yeah, make them
unattractive
look
possible.
ugly. Make them look ugly, and God forbid that anyone should find a beautiful young actress beautiful.
But Ewan McGregor was in there. He was the guy who had to be the villain. The guy who people always tout as a very, very handsome man.
Mm.
But it's our fault. It's men's fault that the movie failed, even though I think the audience was 60% men. Because I think I said this too as a point when I covered it. Women like beautiful women too. Women like beautiful women in movies also. Just like men like to see Arnold Schwarzenegger with big muscles. Okay, it's
How is it that, and honestly, how is it that we have to tell people anymore? Like they still don't get it. Like that women like beautiful women. I mean, sometimes women like beautiful women a hell of a lot. As much as men, and that's fine.
People aren't human; they're NPCs. They're just they look
What?
like
That's so. Lit Dev, isn't it funny? It's like women like women, even like a lot, and men have appreciated women liking women in addition to men liking women. It's like that is a winning formula. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, everyone likes it. It sells, and it does a lot of work, and it makes a lot of people happy. Makes a lot of people happy.
You know what? This is a good comment here. Breasts from Gorgria. Yeah.
Gojira 387. And breasts are also a symbol of femininity and motherhood. Two things SJWs and feminists despise. Oh yeah, they really hate motherhood. And they really hate motherhood, like with a passion.
They're so anti-human. It's really, really, it's depraved. It's
That's why I call them. That's why I call them NPCs.
Yeah, NPCs is absolutely on the money. You were part of that, or you were obviously very aware of Twitter when people started going. That was so cool with the gray faces and the NPC.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, that was so hysterical. Where people were just pretending to be leftists and talking about how much they hated Drumpf and all that other stuff. I got to go look for that again because that was. Hopefully, those are still on there somewhere. I got to see because that was. I was laughing myself crazy with that. I was also like participating a little bit. That was so fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The meme war, the great meme war. But I want to point this out. The reason why he's called Mike Miller here, he has another account on Kickstarter called Mike S. Miller,
that's his professional name.
It's a professional name, but because he's made so many campaigns and has fulfilled on none of them, he had to go ahead and make another account with just called Mike Miller, so he could launch Bless This Mess.
And just to be really specific, when you say he's launched a lot of campaigns and not fulfilled them, just to be clear what we're talking about, very specifically, he launched Lone Star 2, which was a sequel. We should call it Ethan Van Sciver's Lone Star 1, because Ethan promoted it so much, endlessly. So he's launched 4 campaigns that I'm aware of on Indiegogo. The first one was Lone Star 1, which did more than $100,000. And that saved Mike's life because Mike had come to Ethan and said, listen, my mortgage is behind. I got to make money somehow. I'm getting killed over here. I don't have any paid work. And Ethan said, okay, Mike, we're going to help you out. We're going to get this done. So they did. And Mike also contributed a tremendous amount to Ethan's channel, which is the other silly thing, is that he was a fun character on the show. He made it an entertaining show at a time where Ethan was trying to really build his audience and promote his own comic and other people's comics, really build Comicsgate. Mike contributed to it. He did. And he contributed to the success of Cyberfrog. There's no question about it, just by being a character on the show. So when you're a part of something, to walk away from it when you've helped build it, it's just insane. But in any case, so he released that first book, Lone Star 1, really Ethan Van Sciver's Lone Star 1. And then Mike had this idea to release 3 more comics all at once in a collection, even 3 separate comics called The Meg, which was the name of one of the comics. And I've been in publishing a long time, and one of the things that's really important is communication. People understand what they're buying. how much it is, when they're going to get it, why do I like it, and so on. But Mike decided, hey, if I offer 3 comics at once, I'll make 3 times the money. And man, I could use a good $400,000 or $500,000 right now.
It's kind of like that same logic of if I just make my stove hotter, this thing will cook a lot faster.
Does that work?
No, it doesn't.
All right, I was going to try. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make some pasta later, see if that works.
If I put this roast in at 10 million degrees,
yeah, there are limits. You can only shoot something dead once. You can't shoot it really, really, really dead. It doesn't matter. So but the offering is really confusing. It's still on Indiegogo, and if we want to do a deep dive into the psyche of Mike Miller another day, maybe we could go look at it. But yeah, so he offered these 3 different projects that he had some aspect of each complete, but apparently nothing all complete. And Ethan was trying to tell Mike, like, look, Mike, don't do this. Offer a project one at a time, because you're going to confuse people with these 3. And again, my background in publishing, I was looking at the listing at the time of the Meg, and I was like, I don't understand what this is. And then because of the way the word is written, we were calling it Theme G for a while. I wasn't even on Ethan's channel at the time, but people were calling it Theme G. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, what the hell is this thing even? So the other thing that Ethan was looking at is like, when you're on Ethan's channel and he's supporting you, like especially the way he was supporting Mike, he's trying to figure out how he's going to sell something. So he's doing the marketing. He was doing the marketing really for Mike. And Ethan's looking at it like, how am I even supposed to explain this? One is a shark book. Another thing is like a samurai. And I forget, the other thing was a Western or something.
The Magnificent Seven or something like that, where it's just
that's another new thing that he thought would be a good idea. But it's like, for the love of God, like if Ethan says, listen, Mike, we're selling this mostly on my channel. Okay. I will promote what you want to do. I want you to succeed. I want you to have lots and lots and lots of money. I want us to all have lots of money. I need to be able to sell and promote whatever you're doing, and I'm willing to do it. Not going to charge you. I want you to come on my show, be funny, be cool, have people have fun and be entertained when they're on the channel. That's all I ask, but give me something that also I can sell. And he couldn't do that for Ethan. He couldn't even give him a project of like, whatever, just you ripped off Captain America, fine. With Lone Star, rip off another one, rip off The Thing or something, just whatever. Pick a project with a viable name that's comprehensible. You got to understand what the hell it is and launch it. So the Meg did not do very well, but it raised some money. So that was his second project for Mike. Then Mike had started Lone Star 2, sequel to Lone Star 1. Got a bunch of other creators to do covers for free for him. And offered like 10 covers or something, some large number of covers. That was Mike's third project. He started off Comicsgate when he did that project and got a lot of sales from Comicsgate people that had seen him actually deliver Lone Star book 1. That one did $178,000, and now it's up to $179,000. I'm not counting every dollar of his. It just happens to be, and I'm happy for him to have success. I really hope he's able to ship soon and on time. But I'm not jealous of him. Good for him. It proves the concept of Comicsgate. As far as I'm concerned, it proves that I can keep spending more time, more money, more energy on making my passion projects if I'm associated with Comicsgate, and eventually build it into something, of unlimited success. That's how I look at it. Happy for everyone's success. So he did that. He hasn't shipped those books yet. And then he had since left Comicsgate and then offered a reprint. Now he did ship all the Meg books, which were late, but he shipped them. He's offering a reprint of Lone Star 1, which did almost $20,000. So he's raised about $200,000 now worth of 2 campaigns. One Lone Star 2, 180,000 approximately, 20,000 approximately Lone Star 1. He hasn't shipped those books, and they're running late. And there's a great concern that, well, maybe he can't satisfy these 33 or 3,500 backers and give them what they promised. When you're doing campaigns like we do, as much of a third of the money could be going for shipping. So it takes money to deliver on these campaigns. So people have to run their finances really, really, really carefully. And and there's concern that he can't complete these. But yeah, that was his history. So then he launched this project, Bless This Mess, on Kickstarter.
Good job. You didn't say Bless This Mess this time.
I didn't. I was getting good at it. I have to back it a few more times. Oh, I can't back it. Maybe if he relaunches, I can back it. But even this doesn't make sense, because this is not what sells on Kickstarter. If he's doing this to raise some quick money and make some money, these comic strips, unless you have a big following of people that have been following your comic strip, it doesn't generate money. What generates money are like provocative looking, sexy anime characters. That generates money on Kickstarter out of the blue. They have a big audience for that, for whatever reason.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do those, then
no, I'm not using Kickstarter. Kickstarter is plagued by the social justice plague. It has a social justice plague. Okay, it's dying. Don't go there, Chad. Don't go to Kickstarter.
Don't go there. We don't work with Kickstarter for that reason. They do a tremendous amount of gatekeeping. They blocked Mike. Oh, this is the story I think you're going to tell. Sorry, about Mike S. Miller. He first went to them with Lone Star.
Yeah, the first winter with Mike S. Miller first went to Kickstarter with Lone Star, but because Lone Star was fighting some MS-13 gangsters, they said it was racist, and so they said, "No, we're not going to host your project on this platform."
Unbelievable. And I had asked Mike because I saw him, commenting about this on Twitter when he first got turned down for Lone Star 1. Like, Mike, why did you submit all the pages to them? Because Kickstarter doesn't require that. So if you want to, first of all, if you're trying to get something done and you're under the gun, you do the littlest amount of exposure as possible. So why in God's name would you need to show them the cover and a couple of pages that they're not going to be bothered by? Don't try to troll them by saying, I'm going to put in the pages where he's beating up Mexican MS-13 gangs. Because the social justice warriors have been on the administration in the U.S. government about, don't criticize gang members.
They love
because that's racist.
They love the criminals. They love people who are horrible people.
I don't know why. I don't know what they're doing. But I know that those people who do make those criticisms, we all know that they're in charge of Kickstarter.
Yeah, the people who look on Kickstarter, they love rapists, they love criminals, they love murderers and drug dealers. That's what the people they love. They want to protect those people. They just love them. They love them to death. I don't know why.
So the thing is, if you need to get in under the wire on something, no, you don't draw attention to yourself with that kind of stuff that they're going to object to. They never would have known. They would have had no idea.
I'm pretty sure that MS-13 is doing far more damage to other Mexicans and Hispanics than Mike S. Miller's depiction of a superhero taking out these criminals. I'm pretty sure.
You know what, though? Stories are important. If there's one thing I've learned in the current experience with Comicsgate and with what we're going through politically in this country is that narratives are incredibly important. And stories are what people choose to believe. They believe one side, they believe another side. So the narrative engineering is important, and the defense of weird narratives, the defense from weird narratives is important. Okay. And it's amazing how much mood and enthusiasm and inspiration that people get can affect the real world. The real world becomes what we believe.
They absolutely know it. That's why they want to stamp out all the Star Wars, Doctor Who, all that stuff. They want to destroy it, kill the past if you have to, right? That's from Star Wars. They have to kill the past so they can rebuild the future in their own image. And that's exactly what they're doing. And
we're doing the same thing, but we're replacing them with our projects, which is why Comicsgate is just socially and fundamentally so incredibly important. We understand the importance of having heroes, and we're going to make sure that they're there.
Oh yeah, and sometimes villains.
Well, villains, it's yin and yang. They're going to be there.
Oh yeah.
But I won't say I understand the importance of having villains, I guess. But you do need them because there's always a challenge, and if we're not living, if we're not having a challenge in our lives, if we're not overcoming a challenge, if we're not overcoming a conflict, we don't get stronger, we don't get better, and we don't ever move forward.
Absolutely.
Right? The thing stopping us from moving forward is the conflict.
Let's see. So to go over this again, Mike S. Miller began his independent comic career with Lone Star making over $100,000, and now we come to this where he can barely make $10,000, and he actually has a funding unsuccessful. He can't fund a book anymore, and that's the power of Mike S. Miller.
That's the power of this is exactly the power of not giving people what they want and not respecting them.
Exactly.
Comicsgate gives you what you want. Ethan Van Sciver was going to do a book called Rainbow the Brute, which would
That's
have been.
what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for that one to come out.
Yeah, we're all excited for that. He was supposed to do it. He was supposed to announce, I think originally he was going to do it in this past February. But so many people, when they got, and let this be a lesson, people want more of stuff that they like. So when he had started delivering Cyberfrog, people were starting to say, hey, when's number 2 coming out? When's number 2 coming out? When's number 2 coming out? He had to adjust what his plans were. Rather than doing Rainbow the Brute right away, he had to do the sequel to Cyberfrog, which he's happy to do, and it's incredibly successful. It's also running way beyond his initial sales on the first book of Cyberfrog. But people wanted the sequel, and we listen. Ethan listens. I listen to people. I knew people would want a sequel to College of the Dead because I knew the book was a good book. Once it was delivered, more people would be aware of it, and I'd have a reputation for delivering. And of course, people are going to want a sequel. And I'm starting the sequel to College of the Dead 2, which is going to be College of the Dead 3, of course, Spring Break. College of the Dead Spring Break. We're going to talk about how that affected the zombie apocalypse with one of our characters, Haley, and what she was doing right before the apocalypse started that may have caused some problems for us in our world. But people want it. You got to deliver it. You give the customers what they want. And if the customers don't like something, you listen. You can't make unlimited adjustments to like, all right, I want to change the page count or this or that or whatever. But usually the feedback is not like that. Usually the feedback is just like, look, I want to, first of all, if it was Mike's situation, they want their Lone Star too if they paid for it. You got to deliver it.
Oh, yeah.
But secondly, see what genres they're interested in. See what stuff that they like. He had a bunch of other ideas too. He had one I thought was really cool called Atomic Family, not to promote for Mike, but I did think it was cool. I told him so, a number of times. It was on what is Indicron? Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I can't remember their site anymore. But in any case, there's some cool cover art about a traditional superhero family group, kind of like a Fantastic Four kind of thing. Like, wow, like fantastic. I love that kind of stuff. Like, do that book. People they don't want to buy this plus this mess. They want to buy like a cool superhero book, like the kind of book that we all used to love in the 1980s or something. Like make that. But no, he's and Kickstarter would have taken that book. All you need is a cover, and in like 1 or 2 pages, they would have been happy to put it in there.
Oh yeah, I bet they would, especially if they kowtow to their tyrannical lines and tyrannical rules.
Well, it didn't even. Look, if you want to do something that's controversial, look. The other thing too is Kickstarter. We don't do business with them. But if someone's not Comicsgate and they want to do business with them, of course they're free to. But when you get invited onto someone else's platform, you're stuck dealing with their rules. We're on YouTube. We're privileged to be on YouTube. Are they going to treat certain content creators unfairly? Yeah, they're going to treat everyone unfairly at some point. More so if you're a smaller than a bigger creator. It's their platform. They have a right to do it. And it's not fair. But life isn't fair. You figure out how to make things work. But you can't offer projects on a Kickstarter that are not proven commercial successes on Kickstarter. Or even on Indiegogo, we drive a lot of the business to Indiegogo because of our YouTube shows and our own email lists and our promotion. But Kickstarter does have an audience of people that will buy books or whatnot. And if you're desperate to make money, you do it. But the Comicsgate model is 100 times better because you have a relationship with people whose names and wacky screen names I just saw a comment about Starblades. I hope books like Starblades and Deathsworn push CG to do more sci-fi and fantasy epic adventure stories. There will be more fantasy epic adventure stories. Starblades 1 is underway from Kyle. He's working on it. Deathsworn is going to be shipping. I don't exactly know the month. I think fairly soon, though, because Carl's almost done with it. And he is a great creator, Carl Oro. I really recommend you follow him on Twitter. He's on my channel pretty frequently. I just love to see Carl is great to just have him yelling about something. Young, passionate creator, working really hard. And he'll have Death Sworn 2 coming out, I think, as well, just a couple months after Death Sworn 1. I'm working on a project that's a fantasy epic adventure called The Mermaids. It's a Game of Thrones with mermaids. It's a whole mermaids world. We've got like 35 different characters. It took us a couple of years to get this thing done. Way too. I've made a lot of stuff. I didn't realize how ambitious it was when I started it. And it's a mermaid world, all mermaids. It's really you guys will see more about it. But after College of the Dead 2, Graduation Day is finished. That book is also completely done. So I love having everything done in advance. And then we know we're going to ship it and people get to enjoy it. But there are going to be a lot more exciting projects coming out through Comicsgate. And we'll see. The potential is unlimited as long as we keep working together and supporting each other.
That sounds good to me. I'm really interested in seeing that Game of Thrones with mermaids.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, I'll get you some advanced stuff on it. Yeah, it's fantastic. The writing is excellent. I did it with a couple. I had a kind of a team that I worked with to get that done, and then edited at the end and polished off through by Stefan Petruka, my writer for the script on College of the Dead. So yeah, excellent work. I'm so proud of the people that work so hard to work on my projects and make my stuff good.
Now, before we're getting close to the 2-hour mark, so let's see.
Sure.
Usually end around 2 hours or so, but we might go over because I have this video here that I shared with you.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. If you want, we could start it and then do it another day too, if you want, or if you want to do it all today. That should be good.
Well, it's a creator called Jules Chan, and even if you put out a 2-minute video, it would take us forever to get through it because every single sentence is wrong.
All right, and I will limit myself to comment either when truly passionate or you ask me, because I know you know what you're doing. You do incredible videos on this kind of stuff. Yeah. That's where your sub count came from, brother.
This one actually happens to be on your boy Zack, Diversity in Comics. The video is on Diversity in Comicsgate. That's what it's titled. I've not seen the video yet, but we have seen a Jules Chan video on the stream before, and it's going to be a trip. It's going to be quite some entertaining stuff.
I'm all packed up. I'm ready to go on the trip, brother. Let's hit it.
Let's check it out. Chat. Are you ready, chat? I'm gonna give you a few seconds to get ready, chat. Get your popcorn. Get your drinks ready, chat. Are you ready, chat? Are you ready, chat, for another Jules Chan video? Tell me in the comments. Because YouTube is stamping me out, chat. They'd like to stamp me out in my videos and my streams. So let me know if you're ready. I went from like a couple 100,000 views to praying I break 10,000 on my videos. And now they seem to have cut my audience by 75%. So YouTube does not like me, chat. YouTube does not like me.
There's so much to like.
Appreciate
cool radio voice too. Cool radio voice.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so the chat says yes, they're ready. So let's get started with this. Bless this mess. What's sure to be a mess.
The following video contains discussions of diversity and representation and the anti-intellectual dog whistleblowing of forced diversity that comes with living in a bubble of systemic privilege and or being incredibly gullible. If you think diversity and representation isn't important or think treating marginalized individuals with a common sense of decency is too much to ask for, then please kindly throw yourselves into the nearest space dumpster and launch yourselves into the farthest regions of the galaxy. For those who think otherwise and aren't stupid enough to listen to bigoted rhetoric, then I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to Jules Chan.
That's an introduction, all right.
Oh, the salt is palatable. It's delicious. I like to sprinkle Jules Chan's salt in my tears mugs. I have several tears mugs. I have a variety of tears, but Jules Chan has a particular flavor of sweetness. It is fantastic. I love it. It's more like sugar than salt, actually.
Yeesh.
Oh,
What an idiot.
What you're walking into with this one. Hey, if you agree with me, you're a genius. If you don't agree with me, then you're obviously stupid. This is exactly the same exact personality type you get from a lot of these Last Jedi defenders, people who hate the idea of objective criticism. They just hate the idea that you can criticize their favorite movie, and without emotional bias. So this is Jules Chan. They're talking about your boy Zack. I hope that was a good enough introduction for you right there.
Horrible.
You hear
But
that, chat?
it does
Yeah.
say it all.
You hear that, chat? If you disagree with Jules Chan, it's because you're gullible and stupid and privileged, and you should kill yourself. we should just jettison ourselves into the farthest reaches of the galaxy because we are not as big brained and we are not as smart and
Yeah, space dumpsters. Space dumpsters.
space dumpsters. Yes,
I
we
thought
are.
the whole dumpster term was something they were against.
I guess they are now. I mean,
I mean,
only for
under
the
certain
enemies.
circumstances.
Only for the enemies. Yeah, tyrants. You are against everything as if it's being pointed towards them. They hate guns if the guns are pointed at them. They love guns if they can point at other people, especially the people they hate. And that's Jules Chan all over.
Scary characters. These are psychopaths.
We are 29 seconds in, and we're this 33-minute video.
So we'll do it. Hey, you just. I'm not looking to take over your show. You know, I tend to chat here and there, but we could do this every day, brother. You want to take 2 weeks on this? You got it. I mean, let's share it with the world as you
Fantastic.
need.
Let's see how far we get here, and we'll figure things out from there.
You got it.
But that's Jules Chan. I hope everyone, if you don't know in the chat, if you don't know who Jules Chan is, this is Jules Chan. Just to give you a nice little taste of what we're about to jump into. I see HK47 for life. Thank you for the 2. Suicide is a good alternative to this video. Well, I mean, yeah, because if you're watching it on your own, we'll do our best to make it tolerable for you, chat. Do our best to make it tolerable for you.
We'll laugh at this freak for sure.
Oh my. Okay, let's see here. I'm getting the readout that this video isn't even listed. The stream isn't even listed. It should be. That's interesting.
You know what, can you guys do, because Lit Dev, maybe he asked you, I don't know, but do me a favor. Share this with the world on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and share the stream. Make sure you like it. That always does help boost the algorithm. You click like, but share this thing like a mother clucker. That's a duck that likes mothers. On Twitter, because then people will see that it's on, and they'll get a chance to see it. And Lit Dev stuff it's always lit. Let's just put it that way.
Appreciate it. Oh, it looks like, I mean, it is visible. It should be visible on YouTube. So
yeah, I had my stream last night. It was odd. I did get a notification myself, but a lot of people said they didn't get notifications. It's nuts.
I think YouTube is stabbing people. I think YouTube is being really funny recently. I don't know. I don't think it's just specific people. I think it's just being funny all the way around.
Yeah, all the way around. They don't want live streams going on during this whatever's going on with the virus thingy, which is probably enough to get us blocked even further. So who knows? Just saying that word, the V word.
Okay, send it out on Twitter, and there we go. I should be doing it. Okay, so let's continue with Jules Chan and the wonderful, wonderful Jules Chan. The wonderful things about Jules Chan, though, is that he's the only one.
Bears. I love bears.
Punish Berserker, thank you very much for the 2. What up, Adam Post? Going to do some simping time.
Simping time is when we're on Wangcast, and I just really it kills Carl. I just show gifs of girls dancing on Wangcast. Usually, though, it works best when Liam Gray, who does Xenotype, is on a passionate rant for about 10 minutes. And then I just play like Kate Upton dancing while he's talking.
That's a good little segment right there.
You know what's funny? For some reason, it works because people go on intellectual rants, and it's fun to follow. I mean, it's interesting to listen to, and they're ranting and ranting and ranting and ranting. It's like, all right, yeah, you're ranting and like you're listening, but then you get to look at some beautiful girl jumping around in various states of undress, just on a loop, endlessly and endlessly and endlessly. And there's something very peaceful about it. I don't know. That's pretty much simping time, but we do a lot less of it because it makes Carlo Rowe very upset because it's too simple. I think. I don't know. I mean, it is like Idiocracy in a way, but still, I like it. What can I tell you? Reminds me, I should be watching a GIF right now on another tab while we're talking. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's check it out. To see what Jules Chan has in store for us. This chef has completed his meal, and we are about to embark on this wonderful journey to devour this scrumptious repast.
Ooh.
I skip through this because I'm pretty sure that he did put that in there so we get copyrighted. So let's go ahead and skip that.
The dreaded D and R word, I'm very sure I'm going to be getting a great deal of hate mail, so I might as well not hold anything back, and just for the heck of it, I might as well just set the world ablaze. 1. Identity Crisis was garbage. 2. Ethan Van Skeever can go die in a ditch. 3.
There we go. I mean, just see what I told you. It's just every sentence there's something to there's something to pause. They could go die in a ditch. Yeah, this guy is obviously going to give us some very, very intellectual criticism here. It's good.
Can you imagine if we were to have said something like that about this fella, like, you know, about it being in a ditch and something like, you know, what weird, crazy, cruel, disgusting thing to say? Like, you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to normalize, you know, destroying people physically, you know, mentally, anything. You're supposed to like be a part of society. You're not supposed to regard someone else like he doesn't know who Ethan is. You know, Ethan's obviously not doing any harm. Why should he die in a ditch? I don't think he should die in a ditch.
Because Ethan Van Sciver is apparently a bigot and a Nazi, and you know the long list of things. Everyone knows what the long list of things are. But they watched Jules Chen for about a minute. He's already wished death on a lot of people.
Like, what kind of a weird, cruel place do these people want to live in? Where it's like, oh, you don't agree with what the government has told us to believe? Like, all right, well, you must immediately be, you know, destroyed. Let's march you off somewhere. Like that's not a good place to live.
I think the place they want to live in is a place where you can write a bunch of names on a list and then have them immediately canceled. And then if you can't think of enough names or specific names, you can just put, like, I don't know, at the bottom, put 10,000 more and have 10,000 more random people canceled. I think that's what they want to, you know, the Joseph Stalin technique. That's what Joseph Stalin did. So
yeah, I mean, the cancel that starts up a bad metaphor. The whole cancel culture. You know, it's one thing to get removed of everything in life and to lose what you have and not be able to participate in society, which, of course, you know, China's social credit score already kind of has that implemented at will.
Yeah, this is.
But you know, what kind of society? People realize, like, you really think it's never going to go against you. You really think that, you know, you'll be the perfect little soldier, and that, you know, you'll never be held accountable or be made an example of unfairly.
I think I'm against cancel culture, except for the people who cancel people. So cancel the cancelers. And see, Alex Halo, thanks for the 5. Hero Hey and Tug Streams didn't even show up my notifications yesterday. And I did see them in my sub tab, though. That's interesting. So yeah, I think it's just all the way around. YouTube is just messing up everywhere.
Yeah, they're stopping out. I think they're really holding off on. Like he's saying, you saw them on the sub tab, so maybe they just cancel notifications to some people only if you're in like the sub. I mean, who knows what they're doing? That's all right. We're going to overcome because we're cool.
Keep your head down, persevere. I think we can get through this. We can get through this, chat.
Yep.
Let's see here. Just check this out.
I thoroughly enjoyed The Force Awakens. 4.
Oh, by the way, yeah, he's if you didn't know, is a sequel defender too. Obviously, I don't think I even had to point that out. I don't think Jules Chen even had to mention it. If he wished death on people, obviously he likes his sequel trilogy. Not only does he like the sequel trilogy, he is one of those people who says that if you don't like it, you're a moron, or I hate you, or you should go die in a ditch or something. So that's he's that that flavor of sequel trilogy defender. Not every sequel trilogy defender is bad. They say I like the sequel trilogy, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, like whatever you want to like. It's okay. And are you part of a problem? Yeah, you're part of the problem if you like something that destroyed an incredible part of our culture, an incredible contribution to Western civilization. Star Wars really has meant a lot to so many people. So are you part of the problem if you like what they've done to it? You are, but that's actually within our tolerance. Like, that's okay. We don't like that, and we feel badly and disappointed that people don't see what was lost. But we're not out to cancel them and throw them in ditches and, just they're stupid. They'll eliminate themselves. They don't need to be. That's our way, right?
I think
when you're stupid enough, you will eliminate yourself from the conversation. You don't even need to be rounded up. You'll just be forgotten.
Exactly, and
which is also a little cruel, but it is what it is. That is the real deal.
they do to themselves. And this Jules Chan is part of that. There's a subgroup of people who defend the sequel trilogy that think this way, that because you do not like the sequel trilogy like they do, you're obviously too dumb, or you're lacking some sort of higher brain function, or your tastes are just too bland. You're not as refined as these other people are. And this is the subsection that are they're really putting out this, you like what I like, or your X, Y, and Z should happen to you. You should be canceled. And we are at 1 minute 7 seconds, just to give you a flavor of what's to come.
Yeah, they're just going great so far.
Here we go. So let's check out what else Jules Chen has for us.
I hate Pink Diamond even more than I hate the Alliance or Bakugo. And 5, Digibro can go suck a railroad spike and take his lolly porn with him to the lowest, coldest levels of hell. That felt cathartic. Now on with the show. One of the things that has astounded me over the past few years of doing this job is how geek...
This guy's talking to you like you're a bigot. Like if you agree with him, he likes you. But if you do not agree with him, you are a bigot, Nazi, racist. And I think that's where he's coming from on the level when he's going to critique your boy Zack.
What is this guy's credentials? I mean, really, is this whole new
anime?
This whole progressive culture, is their credentials is
I exist.
I mean they have feelings.
I have feelings and I exist.
I have feelings, so like I have feelings. Now allow me to do your brain surgery. Your grandmother's having a heart attack. It's okay. I have feelings.
Exactly.
Well,
I have feelings. I exist. I hate Nazis. Throw me a parade.
They feel like all, and I know you know this, but these people feel that all Western civilization storytelling is wrong. You know, all of it is wrong. Like, wait, what do you like? The concept of a hero's journey, wrong. What? Like, yeah, wrong. You're not supposed.
I think they might hate the hero's journey because did you know that Joseph Campbell was a conservative?
Huh. All he did, Joseph Campbell's great, and he assembled, a history of the hero's journey, that arc in writing. If any of the audience wasn't familiar with it, and he assembled a great book. I can't think of the title right now, but do you know it, Lit? Off the top of your head, you know the title of his book that assembled
the Hero of 1,000 Faces.
Oh, Hero of a 1,000 Faces, talking about the hero's journey, the Luke Skywalker type of character throughout civilization, like for however many hundreds or thousands even of years. And that helped to the whole purpose of story really being for all of us is to teach lessons to each other and learn how to function and, know our place in a social group. Obviously he can't be wrong. This is what worked for society. These guys want to create a whole new society based on their feelings. It's so nonsensical. And then they ultimately will realize, like, no, you are just basically all useful idiots, and you will be in those ditches by the people that you're unfortunately inadvertently serving. That's what winds up happening. Even in a communist culture, you have to offer some merit. You have to perform some purpose. These guys perform no purpose other than to wipe away what's already working.
Yeah, just destroy what's already there and ruin everything for everyone else, and then call everyone a bigot if you get angry.
They really don't realize after that's done, does not come utopia, even for them.
Yeah, utopia, no place. There's no utopia coming. At least not their version of utopia. There's no SJW utopia on the way. It's always a dystopia.
Yeah, it's always a dystopia, and these people will not be needed anymore. Anyway,
not needed now. we can do
a lot. We could really do very well without these guys. But there's some very dark things coming if we were to ever buy into this garbage.
Yeah, tyranny. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see what else Jules Shen has to say, because we barely made it in 30 seconds in, and he said so many horrible things, and we just can't stop. We just can't let it go by.
Culture likes to proclaim that comic books, anime, cartoons, video games, and what have you can be sophisticated by how they can mimic or draw parallels to real-life issues. However, it's so ironic how so many of them can come to that conclusion since so many geeks live in a perpetual bubble, and the mere mentioning of social issues and politics will make them scream blue bloody murder for days.
Yeah, because it's not just mentioned, is it? It's just it takes over. It's politics first with I think a tape characters to it, and they just put the Marvel logo on it. Your the characters you spent years loving, the Wolverines and your Cyclopses and your Punishers, they are just puppets taped to a political propaganda, political agenda. It's not a mere mention of a social issue. It's the social issue that is painted Marvel.
This is the absolute worst thing that anybody could do with anyone else's life's work, is to pervert it, destroy it, take all of these personal stories, take something like Spider-Man that is just so relatable and so enjoyed and appreciated by generations and generations and generations and thousands and millions of people, but then also the hundreds and then maybe thousands of creators that worked to maintain the continuity of the spirit of the character, and even literal continuity of where was this character last Wednesday, where was this character 2 months ago, where was this character 15 years ago. People that have really dedicated a lot of their effort to carrying on the tradition of something that really worked and meant something to people. It's not religion, but it's a second step to a religion. And then to have these people with feelings come in and say, well, I have feelings and what you're doing doesn't jive with my feelings, so let's destroy everything to create our utopia. What's your utopia? I don't know. They haven't told us yet.
Exactly.
That's how gullible you are? You don't know what the utopia is, and you want us to follow you? Do you understand? This is farm animal behavior.
They're too
It's
arrogant
like,
to
hey,
know that they know nothing.
we throw a string of seeds, the chickens follow us, and then we chop them into a million pieces. This is what you do. This is like the cows, they follow like through these metal gates or whatever, and then they get slaughtered. This is it. This is what that is. And these guys don't ever stop to sit and say, you know what? This is not organic. Gay rights was organic. That actually came up through a community. Now, was that sponsored by some intelligence agency somewhere? I have no idea. I don't know if it was some sort of agenda. Then it was something that was done secretively enough that, okay, it was elegant. I don't know. I don't think it was, because there have been people who have wanted to live differently than other people and felt uncomfortable the way they're living for like many years. That's fine. That's understandable. That was organic. It really is lost on this guy and the people like this guy that all of the SJW stuff that they're doing it's very top down. None of it is organic. Just because this person feels this way because he's easily programmed, it's not like literally this came up from our culture and it's a natural outgrowth of our culture. So it's something we really need to address. It's not. And then everything gets compared to slavery. It's like, well, the government had to get really aggressive with slavery. Like, it's not slavery. That's not. It's not a civil rights issue. It's not. It didn't. It's not something that was so oppressively in society, and that you have to make this radical change in society to address it. It was not a part of our culture. It's so top down. It's so absurd. It's so freaking ridiculous. We just have to keep telling each other that and reminding ourselves, because there's so much propaganda in everything now. It's just gone, so wildly.
I think that's why that's why so many people hate the sequel trilogy, because that's exactly what they do. They besmirch the legacy. They really put mud all over the face of Luke Skywalker and all the characters, all the legacies that you've loved for decades. And the same thing with Marvel Comics, same thing with Doctor Who, same thing with all these other franchises like Star Trek. They've all been people hate it. They hate them because what they've been doing is just disrespecting the things that we love this whole time, and then calling you a bigot for getting angry about things you've been passionate about for years. And I think Dressios V has a good comment here. It's easy to write a story about punching Nazis. It's also easy to write stories about killing terrorists. But when you're making characters act out to beat up Trump supporters, you're messing up. Yeah, because this is the thing that they do. They say we hate Nazis, and all these people of particular political ideology, the people, not Nazism, but just regular standard conservatism or right wing views. They're all Nazis by the merit that they are right wing. And so we're going to beat up these right wingers. And if you get mad, we'll say, oh, you're mad that we're beating up Nazis. They did this back then when World War II came out, because World War II was a big thing then. We wanted to see heroes beat up Nazis. Now you're just beating up people, you're just beating up your fellow American because they disagree with you and calling them Nazis. It doesn't work that way. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I haven't been around. I'm 50 years old now. I've seen some weird stuff. This is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. What these people are doing, it's just the absolute weirdest on top of weirdest. This whole thing with changing the identities of genders and things like that, and letting the federal government decide what gender is. I mean, it's fine if they want to tinker with marriage or something. It's a little odd because that was normally dealt with religion. And it was not part of the federal government. It was not something that was supposed to be that big of a top-down thing. But okay, but this is the problem: is what are they going to decide for us next?
no, hopefully nothing. I want the federal government to dictate to me nothing. That's their job, is to fail. The federal government's job is to fail so everyone else around them can look good, as far as I've seen. Let's see here. HK47 for life. Thanks for the 5. I plan to go home tonight and play video games. I play them to have fun and escape reality. If I wanted to focus on social issues, I'd focus on them. Exactly.
It's a good point. It's a good idea.
This is what I say. Why I say the pulp fiction genre was so incredibly important during the time where it really exploded. And that was during the time of conflict, mainly during the time of the Great Depression. People were looking for an escape because their daily lives were fairly miserable. That it doesn't matter where you were or who you were, your daily life was probably very miserable during the Great Depression. And that was when your Pulp Fiction novels really took off, was around that era or so.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm looking at this super chat again because my mind wandered for a moment. You're a sexist if you don't let Mary Sue perform open heart surgery on you, even though she has no medical training.
Yeah,
yes.
you're sexist.
They're like, yeah, we really believe that. You guys really believe that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like,
and with the Wu flu stuff, you were a racist if you don't let a Chinese person cough on you. Like,
yeah. Or like, I like Chinese food. I do. When this started going on, my take was like, well, I haven't had Chinese food in a while. I had feeling like it's been a couple of months. And I was like, I think I want to go get some Chinese food. The thing is, I kind of always regret getting Chinese food afterwards because it's like it could be heavy, greasy, whatever it is. And I'm like, I know I'm going to regret it anyway. Like I can't get Chinese food right now. It's just not the right time to be doing that. And I don't know when it's going to be again, but it's like the wontons are not that good. It's not that good.
In fact, don't get takeout at all right now. Just buy your own groceries and make your own food. It's the safest thing because when you get takeout, other people's hands are on those things. You don't know if they're washing them.
I'm worried about. I was just thinking about that last night. Like, I don't like this. Like, there are restaurants that are still open and stuff and whatever, and that's good. And it's a good industry. There's very hardworking people. But there's all sorts of food prep going on.
Are you going to put Purell all over my food? What's going on?
My brother is a doctor, and he's pretty well to do. He's a kidney specialist. His son is going to be taking a part-time job driving this summer, I think, or maybe even now for doing Uber. And I'm like, what? Doing deliveries or food deliveries for Grubhub or something. I'm like, well, you guys have money. Like, why would you let him go meet strangers like all day long? He's like, well, we're going to leave the food outside and it's all paid electronic. I'm like, all right, I guess. It's just like right now, until this stuff is dealt with, it really is best for us to stay away from other people, be on YouTube, and hide out in the house for a while.
That's the best. Flatten that curve. Flatten
the curve, baby.
Lady Gravemaster, thanks for the 5. Mr. Post, credentials are oppressive.
They are.
Credentials are oppressive. You're a sexist if you don't let a Mary Sue perform open heart surgery on you, even though she has no medical training. Well, if it's a Mary Sue, then you're safe. You're in good hands because she will always succeed unless it's to someone else's detriment. It makes you look better if you die. That's the only way that the Mary Sue would fail. And of course, if you died under a Mary Sue's care, your death would go unrecognized. The Mary Sue would be instantly forgiven, no repercussions. So you would go without your justice, unfortunately. But the chances of you surviving are very, very good, even if they have no medical training. Let's see, insult to the human race. Thanks for the 5. Adam, thanks for coming on. Literature Devil, thanks for hosting the stream today. I hope you both have an excellent week. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. That's a really thoughtful comment. And, that kind of like, that's what a good society does, is like an actual thoughtful, sincere, positive comment makes somebody's day, really, and just sets them off in the right direction. So thanks for that comment. That was a really great comment.
Yeah, I hope you have an excellent week. Also, insult to the human race. Appreciate it.
Insult to the human race. Some of these names are great.
These
You're our kind of insult, by the way. We like you, my friend.
See, Lady Gravemaster. Adam Post is a white male. He's dead for the good of humanity, though. Oh, yeah, that's what they say.
It's the way it's got to be.
That's what they believe.
This is a great show. It's probably better when I'm not on it, or maybe it might be just as fun. I don't know, but I'm having a great time with you guys. You have a great chat.
Awesome.
Great content. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have the best chat. The best chat. Believe me, the best.
The best. I like how you said that. I don't know where you got that phraseology from.
Oh, it just came to me. Sometimes these things just come to me. It's the advantage of being a writer, I guess.
You're smart, you know. I mean, you've been around. You're smart. You
I have
a lot of money.
I have all the best words.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, let's continue with Jules Chen for now and see what else he has to say. I want to see if we can make it 2 minutes before he says something else that's incredibly comment worthy.
I predict 15 seconds. I will say nothing.
We'll check it out. We'll check it out.
We're going to be covering this issue sometime in the future, but it's because of this willful ignorance that makes them so vulnerable to deception.
Come on, Jules Chan. I mean, come on. You couldn't make it a few seconds. Willful ignorance, chat. It's your willful ignorance. You do not agree with Jules Chan because you are being willfully ignorant. Because why? Oh, obviously because you're a bigot. Okay, your bigotry is such immensely powerful in your being that you are just willfully ignorant. You're just being willfully ignorant to the intelligence and the facts. Quote unquote facts, Jules Chan.
I was offended by that phrase. Also, willfully ignorant. It's impossible to be willfully ignorant. So if I told you, like I told you, I'm 50 years old. And I turned 50 last Monday. So it's like, Jesus Christ, I'm 50 years old now. I have to stay irresponsible. That's how you stay young. But ship your books on time. College of the Dead always ships on time. But willfully ignorant, you can't be. Now, can you be willfully ignorant of me of telling you I'm 50 years old? No. Everybody knows I'm 50 years old now in this chat. They've heard it now 3 times. 3 is enough to practically brainwash somebody. So you can't be willfully ignorant. If you have something to say that's an actual fact and you can demonstrate it as a fact, the fact is known. It becomes known. There's no way to say, nope, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. And then you refuse to believe it. This is the problem with these characters like this guy, whatever, Jules Chan, whatever. If you can't present something in a way that actually makes sense, it doesn't make the other person ignorant. It means that you haven't explained it well, or perhaps, God forbid, you're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
They
can't be wrong, though. They can't be wrong. It's impossible. I was on another stream the other day, and these people have written themselves into the corner. I mean, we were commenting on the people who more or less are in the same mindset as Jules Chan, but these people usually, their fight is not that you're a bigot. It's your fight, well, not just that you're a bigot. Their fight is that objective criticism does not exist, which it absolutely does. But
isn't that what they're doing?
Yeah,
aren't they just objectively criticizing?
They're saying that he's that all this stuff is racist and wrong and objectively bad, but objective criticism doesn't exist. But this is what they do. This is exactly what they do. They say that you are not as sophisticated, that you are ignorant or uneducated or country bumpkin or whatever because you do not agree with them. And this is a constant and consistent element in their videos, along with a supreme and very noticeable air of arrogance. Lady Gravemaster, thank you for the 2. Disney throttled bandwidth of D+ physical media. Yeah, I think it's Doomcock. What Doomcock likes to say is always get physical media. Always get physical media because they like to change.
Yeah,
media.
Yeah, if you have any favorite books, you better have them on paper or you don't have them.
Oh, yeah.
Even the licensing of them. I'll tell you something as a publisher, real quick, about Amazon.com. When I first started working on College of the Dead, I had some test prints done a few years back when it was in various states of production. And we got books from Amazon, and the books looked good. And they happened to be, they had their own printing service for small publishers. And they happened to be high quality, and the price was excellent. I mean, excellent, about half the price of everyone else's. As time has gone on, Amazon changed their program. Now their price was up a little bit. The quality was much lower.
The packaging when they shipped the books was terrible. Their customer service for dealing with getting the books printed is just terrible now. And recently, they just kind of stopped delivering books altogether. Although my friend of mine just kind of still stayed with them, and he's telling me he's having a terrible time with them. So what they'll do is they'll kind of just lure you in, and it's not just Amazon. Like all these guys lure you in to be dependent on them and their tyrannical systems, and then they destroy your ability to be independent because you're dependent on them, which is just terrible.
Yeah, it's strange how that works. It's almost like the government tries to do that sometimes too. Before I get on, before I get on a tirade about the government, but the insult to the human race. Thank you for the two. Around here we call him Lols Chan. That's good. I was thinking of a nickname for him, but his nickname, his YouTube name is already the nickname I usually give people. I usually give people like a nickname of Chan at the end. But he already calls himself Jules Chan, so I don't know what else to call him. But yeah, Lols Chan.
Chan.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Oh, and one thing I wanted to say about people like Lols Chan here, they've written themselves into such a impenetrable corner. Like they can't get out. They can't get out, and because they really, well, Jules Chan not specifically, but the people I normally cover is the people who hate the idea of objective criticism because they don't want you to be able to objectively criticize The Last Jedi. That's the real reason why. But there was one guy, I think it was like Just Right or Jack Saint, something like that, one of those YouTubers, who had to use a inferior mic to record his video because the mic he usually uses doesn't work anymore. And he says, "No, guys, this is not objectively worse because I'm using a worse mic. It's just as good as the other videos." Like because if he acknowledges
great.
if he acknowledges that objective criticism exists in any way, then his whole argument falls apart. So he says, "No, guys, this is you know how horrible I sound. It is not inferior to the other videos where I sound 10,000 times better."
Wow, that is sick.
And so yeah, Jules Chen is in the same mindset as these people. You can't be wrong. So I'm trying to say that they cannot be wrong. They can never acknowledge that they are wrong in any way because if they are, then their entire world falls to pieces. It's just fantastic.
Sick people.
Let's check it out. Let's see what else Jules Chen has to say. We haven't even gotten to the meat of the video yet. There's so much stuff. So much stuff.
A lot of content.
People who scream, geek culture is being violated by them SJWs. While this
Come on, Jules Chan. Okay, we managed to make it another couple of seconds, but yes, it is. And not only is it being violated, it's being ruined, torn to pieces, shredded. Here's a little brain trust right here. I think that's Movie Bob. We all know who that person is. But everyone forgot who she is. She used to be important, but she no longer is. I don't know who that guy is. But maybe her baggage boy. I don't know. But yeah, it is being violated. It is being infiltrated, and it is being ruined. All your favorite entertainment stuff, all your what Doomcock likes to mention as modern myths, which is a really good identifier. They're all being ruined. They're all being violated and, well, just obliterated by these people.
Creeps.
doesn't apply to every single facet of geek culture, and there are people smarter than the average fanboy.
Oh, come on, Jules Chan. Come on.
Trump. Now we got Trump.
Now he's bringing in Trump.
You know what's funny thing about Trump? They still do it. They still do it, where people just openly say like, "Oh, he's such an idiot. He's such an idiot." I mean, how does he keep out? If he's an idiot, how does he keep outsmarting everyone?
They try to impeach him. You'd think he would have gotten impeached by now. They didn't. They would have kicked him out by now. He's that dumb. But of course, he'd have to bring up these two people. Let me rewind you a little bit.
Violated by them SJWs. While this doesn't apply to every single facet of geek culture, and there are
I think this is Lily Orchard. This is a person who's so far on the left. Lily Orchard thinks, or Lily Pete, something like that. So Lily something, but they are so far on the left. They think that Steven Universe is Nazi propaganda. Steven Universe which is touted as a far leftist SJW show, is Nazi propaganda. This person. That's how far of a wackaloon they are. And then
people smarter than the average fanboy.
Lindsay Ellis, who is the epitome of SJW culture, because everyone who worked on Channel Awesome and that guy with the glasses, for some reason, even Linkara, who was fundamentalist right, became a fundamentalist leftist from working on that site for some whatever reason. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. I don't know what they did over there. I don't know what kind of kick they had in that punch. But everyone over there has ingested the social justice virus, and Lindsay Ellis is the premier of that. She is the poster child for SJW nonsense that came from this section of the woods.
Horrible.
Have you ever seen any of that guy with the glasses or the nostalgia critic people?
Mm-mm.
No, good. I mean, I used to like them, but you're better off not knowing. You're better
Yeah,
off staying
it's like
away.
these people are just ridiculous. They just the level of it's so ridiculous. I mean, again, like they just keep saying, "Let's be more and more progressive." And what are you leading to?
Off a cliff. Like
Yeah.
300.
I mean, really, like they don't even know where they're going. Like, do you have any consideration? Like, no concern. You just that amount of trust that you must be doing the right thing, that you don't need to know where you're being led by obviously a top-down movement that's just pushing and pushing and pushing gullible people that have no other identity, no other things going on in their lives other than what the latest battle is to destroy the existing culture.
Exactly.
It's so sick.
Gojira 387, Steven Universe is too right wing for them. Yes, Steven Universe, the one that a lot of people hate because it's far too far leftist with the genderless gem things and I don't know, they have a lot of stuff in there. I haven't actually seen this show, but I've seen a lot of people review the show. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people hate it because it's considered to be the iconic SJW show, and yeah, it's too right wing for them. They think it's Nazi propaganda. Those are the people that Jules Chen likes apparently. People who think that Lenin is some sort of Nazi. Who think that Joseph Stalin is far too conservative right winger. Okay, these are the people that Jules Chen likes.
Yet these are people that if you took away their cell phones, they would be destroyed.
Yeah, immediately. If you got them banned from Twitter, they would be a puddle of tears, which I would then collect and then put in my mug, but there would be a puddle of tears nonetheless.
Yeah. You make ice cubes with those tears sometimes?
Oh, they're the best. They're the best.
Okay. Because you can make like pops and stuff with them. You can freeze them.
If you run out of sugar and if you have like some hot chocolate or something, you just put those tears in there, ice cube tears, and it just sweetens it right up.
Thank God Ethan Van Sciver is doing Cyberfrog, and he's just upsetting so many people with that. And then, so many of us are coming out with our projects, and like my project's improved, and there's so much more that we're going to be doing. And these people just have to suffer and take it. There's really nothing they can do.
All they can do is cry and cry and cry and lose and lose and lose. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
They're good at it.
They're really good at losing. Even when they're put in a position of absolute victory, where victory is guaranteed, they still lose. How do you lose money with a Star Wars movie? You put one of these people at the top of it.
Boy, did they destroy that. Boy, did they destroy that. And now it's not a great business to be making movies. Oh my God.
Star Wars was a unstoppable Titanic, an unstoppable behemoth of income for decades. And these people are so adept at losing. The moment you put them on top, they drive it right into the ground.
I remember seeing an interview with Bob Iger, and I watched a whole ton of those, on a variety of interviews on YouTube, and different settings, a lot of like high-end business settings, and just different industry things. And in one of them, he was talking about how Star Wars was like the number one toy license before they acquired Star Wars. Like it was always constantly selling. They ruined that. It's like they ruined so much. They ruined so much.
Ruined happiness.
They're just getting started on Marvel, which is going to be interesting.
I think your boy Zack was right when he called these people the worst humans that humanity has ever produced. He's the worst. And then your boy Zack, by the way, if you don't know in the chat, he was a former Marine, I think. He fought literal terrorists, and he thinks these people are worse than literal terrorists. And see, Boomher, thanks for the 2. Salty SJW tears make for the best margaritas. Oh, they do, because then they're so sweet and salty at the same time. You don't have to add in either. You just plop them in a little bit of SJW tier, and it does both jobs at once. It's fantastic.
And a little alcohol, of course.
Lady Gravemaster, classical liberals are becoming extinct because the SJWs are pushing them out for not following all the narratives. Anyone to the right of Bernie Sanders is right-wing extremists to these people. I think they even think Bernie Sanders is probably too far right for them.
Yeah, but see, this is the funny thing with Bernie Sanders. Like, you can tell someone who's a fighter or not a fighter. He's wanted to run for president forever, so he ran for president. So fine, a couple times now, but he won't fight for it. He just won't. He won't fight for it.
He's like, oh, I can't be president. Oh, okay, I'll just walk away.
Yeah, I can't be president. Like, we tried. We thought we would go for it. We had a good time. Everybody go home. Thank you very much. Like, so is he a fraud? I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he seems to keep making more and more money and getting more and more accolades. But he doesn't seem to get called out for being a fraud. Anyone who supports the other side, the Trump side, would love to see Trump versus Bernie Sanders, just as a throwdown of capitalism versus socialism and supporting America versus supporting whatever it was that Bernie says he wants to support. But doesn't look like we're going to see it.
Doesn't look like it, because I don't know. I won't say anything about Bernie at the moment. But here we go. We saw Jules Chan. His heroes are other people who do the same thing, commentate on media, but they are also commentators who also call you a bigot if you do not agree with them. So we get to see where, I guess, with Jules Chan got his criteria, that you are a Nazi if you think that The Last Jedi was a bad movie or something. This is the mindset of these people. If you don't like The Last Jedi, you are literally part of the Ku Klux Klan or something. It's ridiculous, but it's hilarious at the same time.
Boy, most geeks often fail to notice red flags when bigots are trying to make racist comments sound more reasonable than they actually are, and giving them more attention than they deserve, which is none. Especially when people can be so easily fooled by supposed good intentions.
He keeps saying this over and over and over again. You were all so easily fooled. You were all so gullible. You're all so dumb. You're all so uneducated. That's what he thinks of you, chat. That's what he thinks of his audience if you do not agree with him, that you are all dumb, uneducated people. Because I'm Jules Chan. You're all dumb and stupid. And gullible.
What was the relevance of that robot? I thought he was going to mention something about the robot.
That was what's his name? That bad guy from one of those Avengers movies.
Oh, so
Ultron. That's Ultron.
Ultron. So does that okay? That looks familiar now. No nose, Ultron. So what does that relate? Does that relate at all to what he was saying?
He's just calling us bigots and stupid. I don't know. So did Ultron do that? I think he was actually pretty polite. Like, I think Ultron over Jules Chan.
Yeah, I would take Ultron over. Oh, absolutely. Ultron's reasonable.
Yeah, he's reasonable. Yeah, he's very violent in his reason, but he's reasonable. I mean, he's
like Doctor Doom. Like, all the real, like, the villains are like, they're not trying to like wipe everyone out. Pretty much. They're like, they just want to be like overlords and wealthy and powerful and take over the planet or whatever. But they take over the planet, but life still kind of goes on. Not these guys are worse, much worse.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2 minutes and 77 seconds in. He's already called us dumb. He wished death on multiple people, and we're all gullible idiots because we don't agree with him. So 2 minutes, he packed all of that.
A bunch of no-noses. We're a bunch of no-noses.
Exactly, a bunch of no-noses.
You see what I mean?
Jules Chan could pack in all this vitriol in 2 minutes, and there's a 33-minute video. And last time we saw a Jules Chan video, it was 25 minutes, but 20 minutes too long. It could have, I mean, there's only so much bigotry that you can call it. So you can only call us bigots so many times before it gets kind of boring. I think you can call us bigots for 5 minutes to be fine, but 25 minutes, a little bit too much.
People can be so easily fooled by supposed good intentions or good arguments, and people sounding rational and reasonable and correct when they actually aren't. These deceptive fucksticks bank on their fellow geeks to be just as ignorant as they are, and hope that you won't notice them spreading bigoted...
Hey, okay, Chad, if people agree with you, it's because you're hoping. Okay, you're hoping that people who agree with you are just as ignorant as us. So we are all ignorant, and we're going around spouting our ignorance and our bigotry, and we're just hoping that the people we're talking to are as ignorant and as bigoted as we are.
I at least like this image because I get that, like, well, this is a manipulative character, whatever. I don't know why. I forget his name. The old guy from Family Guy is giving a lollipop to Peter
Herbert, because I guess because we're all predators too. I guess.
Or we're stupid because people are giving us lollipops that we like.
We're all bigots because we're preying on people who are...
Maybe we're not supposed to like what we're hearing. Maybe that's the point about that one image. And then we're supposed to not be dumb like Peter. We're supposed to hate what we're hearing, but just live with it because he's right. I don't know.
when we go into a movie like Birds of Prey, we're supposed to like being called evil and horrible and that we can do better and everything. We're supposed to like that. We're supposed to like paying $9 or more to be called evil people and rapists and oppressors. Yeah, that's what I want from a movie.
All the while they avert the male gaze, so you can't even enjoy what you're looking at.
Exactly.
It's like, all right, it is a visual medium, isn't it? Movies.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but we're bigots if we're sexist or whatever. If we like what we see on the movie,
We're sexy if we like what we see in the movie, not sexy.
yeah. All right, Jules Chan. See how long you can. Let's see if we can break your record. Okay, let's see if we can go 10 seconds without saying something ludicrously horrible.
Rhetoric disguised as criticism, thus making geek circles more.
Rhetoric
Jules Chan?
disguised as criticism.
Rhetoric disguised as criticism. Are you serious, Jules Chan? Really, Jules Chan? Are you serious? Come on. So when I point out criticism in something, it's not real criticism. It's
What he's saying is rhetoric disguised.
Jules Chan does not give criticism. He just puts out rhetoric. We saw this from last video where he puts forth tons of examples and points, but explains none of them. He gives no criticism. He just says, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Am I going to explain myself? No.
That is the definition of gaslighting. Like to do the absolute opposite. Like stop hitting yourself type of move. These people are really, really sick people. Like, how do they function at all?
Now I would give Jules Chan 5 seconds, but let's see if we can make it to 2 seconds. Let's make it 2 seconds without him saying something.
2 seconds. He could do 2 seconds.
Toxic than they already are. Which
really, Jules Chan?
He couldn't go 2 mother effing seconds.
I mean, a second and a half. Come on, Jules Chan.
Almost made it.
We're toxic. We're trying to convince people that we're not as toxic. We are absolutely toxic, but because we don't criticize, we try to disguise our rhetoric, our bigoted rhetoric, as criticism, in an effort to convince the normies that we're not as toxic as we really are. But they still see us as toxic because we're just. I mean, you can't really overlook that. We're just walking mounds of garbage. But we're trying to convince people that we're not as toxic as we really are. All right, Chan? It's you take that from a lesson from Jules Chan. Take that to heart. Okay.
This is so insane. It's really, I think it's good to break it up too, because otherwise it's like this could like do you damage. It's sort of like if you ever watched Charles Manson interviews.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually very interesting to see his dynamics, how he's speaking, how he's communicating. Just as a communicator, I find it really interesting, but I don't watch a lot of it at once because it's it really is detrimental to the brain.
I found Jules Chan very interesting, but ironically, that's the only way I can find him interesting. But a little test real quick. Judging by what you've heard so far from Jules Chan for 2 minutes, 39 seconds, do you think Jules Chan has the like to dislike ratio visible on his video? Yes or no?
Oh, I can't imagine he has a lot of likes for this, does he?
I don't know, because he hides it. He hides the like to dislike.
So probably not if it's not something he can show off.
Do you think Jules Chan shows his subscriber count on his channel?
Oh, interesting. I would say if he's going to hide the likes and dislikes, probably not.
You would be correct. I don't know how many subscribers he has, and I don't know how many people who liked his channel. I don't know how many people disliked it. We don't know. I don't know. I'm not even sure anyone. I don't think he closed the comment section. I just think no one commented. I don't know.
Well, if nobody commented, then it's probably not very popular.
Yeah, this you can always guess the same method of behavior. Always hide everything. Always do this. Always call you bigot. Always call you dumb. Because they are the supreme intellectuals. You see, they know everything. Jules Chan knows everything. He's on his high horse. And it's just sometimes. Can you stop being brilliant for 2 seconds and be clear and explain your positions and just get down in the mud with us just for a little while, okay? Just get off your high horse. Get dirty with us. Just get messy. Come down with us, normal plebeians.
Connect a couple dots. That's all. Say, hey, if you think this, here's why this doesn't actually match that. I've seen people make some, take ambiguity and kind of explain, like, look, there's 2 ways of looking at this situation, and kind of discuss both. Like they could do that if they were serious people. They're not serious people. They're stupid. I mean, there's no way to just. You can't turn in a work assignment like this in school. You can't turn in a work assignment that's just endless streams of hate and vitriol. You have to be able to make a point if you're going to write a paper. Like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
got to
make a point every once in a while. I mean, so far it's been 90% hatred towards people who disagree with him.
and you can actually tell relatable stories. Pick a victim class of any sort and tell a point of view story from that person. Show what it's like to be that person, and maybe that person, has been treated unfairly in a variety of situations, like all of us have. So that's relatable. But there's no relatability here. There's no way you can see yourself in anything this maniac is describing, and that's why it doesn't resonate. Not that I want to train these people how to make their points better, but you almost want to, so you can just point out to them, okay, well, that's anecdotal. That's not what it's like in every situation. And also, I could choose to be, a human chicken, or put on a gorilla suit and walk around like, throughout life in a gorilla suit constantly. People aren't going to treat me the same. And I can't demonize them because I'm not the norm. If I'm in a gorilla suit, I'm in a gorilla suit. And that's my choice, and that's how I'm living. Some people can't choose to be in a gorilla suit. I get that, like whether it's a disability or whatever their situation is, that they're like, well, I am who I am, and it's hard for me. It's like, all right, then why don't we talk about that and bring, life experience to that? But these people just use people that have those unique situations, and are marginalized to gain more power. It's so evil.
I know. It's a pretty spot on assessment. Let's see. Alex Halo, thanks for the 5. Remember when Zack tried to make a compromise and said instead of making Iceman gay, he said just make him bi? That doesn't sound like a bigot. He's not a bigot. That's the strange thing, but you have to do exactly what they say or else you're a bigot. That's why so many of these people are so afraid. They step in line because if they step out of line, even an inch out of line, they could risk their entire lives being burned to the ground.
Even to serve their own purposes. If they had any respect for story, then they would take Zach's idea and they'd be like, you know what? This is great. We can make people question their own sexuality and open people up to, living lives where they're bisexual that otherwise maybe wouldn't have thought of it. And if you worked it properly into the story to their own crazy ends of trying to tell people how to live, like, sure, you could introduce people into weird considerations or different, unique considerations they'd never had before. But they're so against doing things the right way. They can't even do that. They can't even use the tools to their own advantage.
No, they can't, because that's those tools are racist. So
I had my stepmother used to make turkey meatballs and sneak them in on me because I wasn't interested in eating turkey meatballs. That was for my own good. But at least make meatballs. Make the turkey meatballs, flavor them, make them taste good. Sneak your messages in there. If you've got a point to make, don't, and construct it carefully, craft it. Don't just say like, oh, instead of meatballs, I'm putting in dog food, and you're obviously going to tell the difference. And if you don't like it, you're a bigot. Like, well, that's not how. No. Anyway.
Let's see what Jules Shen has in store for us. Let's see how long you can last before we have to pause it again.
I do like turkey meatballs.
Is the case with
Comicsgate.
Comicsgate.
Yeah, they're good. Let's see here. Comicsgate. So he finally managed to make it to Comicsgate. Finally managed to stop calling us bigots for 2 seconds.
So in fairness to him, it's not even 3 minutes in, so it's not too bad. He did the introduction. It's like, that was okay. It's just it's impossible to sit there and listen to it. But
about 3 minutes of vitriol. Now we can get to the meat.
Yep, we're starting off the year covering that topic, so sit back and pour a cup of your favorite beverage, kids, because we're going to be debunking a huge slew of half-baked criticisms made by neo-reactionaries and geeks gullible enough to believe them.
There we go. Let's just drop a bunch of buzzwords on us. By what is a neo-reactionary? Okay, what's a neo-reactionary? Can you tell?
A new reactionary? A new people that react to things? These. What I don't know. I mean, we're watching this, but it's like it's hard to believe it even exists.
Yeah, critics of these comics are neo-reactionaries.
I've never seen somebody like represent something that they liked in this way. You know, I liked Frank Miller's Daredevil comics in the 1980s. I liked them a lot. I thought they were really, really well done. There's nothing so, but not everybody, I'm sure, did. I mean, a lot of people did, but I like, I'm okay with turkey meatballs. I like regular meatballs better, but I'm not going to go like attacking people who don't like what I like. How do you represent that you like something by attacking people who don't feel the same way about what you like? Because he doesn't even like this stuff. He just likes that it gives him the opportunity to see something get destroyed that other people actually do care about.
And to call people bigots while he does it. They love doing that. It gives them a little shot of endorphins.
Jeez.
Tyler Preston, thanks for the 2. My God, these people are worse than me in school. They are. They have them. To me, as far as I've seen, they do have generally the mentality of a grade schooler or a high schooler at best, and they talk to you like that all the time. Like if you're a toddler, it's really creepy.
They're really, really weird people.
They are. They're very strange people.
Where, like, I don't know how old you are. Everyone knows how old I am. You can't, what was their term? Be willfully ignorant of my age, because you guys know how old I am now. I don't know how old you are, but have you ever even seen any people like this ever?
Never.
Where did they come from?
Recently. They all came from coddle culture, I think. They all the safe space. They were all being kept in their safe spaces, and someone let them out. Now they're here.
I think that these people ought to reflect a bit and think to yourselves, because maybe one of the critics is actually, or whatever they are watching it. Where did this come from? This whole personality, all of this behavior. You know, where was this 10 years prior to where you started doing this? It didn't even exist in culture. Are you just like, is it God? Did God just touch you in some way, and get you to start realizing, oh yeah, I'm a social justice warrior. I need to go off and start doing this. Or was it more likely that you're programmed to do this for probably not a good thing? These are people that are, they don't even have friendships. They call them allies. They're going after children in first grade and second grade school, saying that no one's allowed to be best friends with each other.
Yeah, it's really strange stuff.
I mean,
they hate humanity.
Where did this come? Really, where did this come from? Seriously, look into it. And I was on with Raging Golden Eagle. I don't know if you've ever been on with him, but you got to get on with him. Oh, have you been on?
Oh yeah, about twice.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's great. He's great. He and I were talking about this sort of thing on my stream, and he's like, and Yuri Beninoff, and I'm like, Yuri Beninoff. I don't know if you know. Do you know who he is?
I don't think so.
So he's this Russian dude that he defected to the United States. He used to be a Soviet KGB agent, and he's legit. You see the guy; he talks with the accent and everything like that. He's doing interviews, talking about his experiences as a KGB information propaganda agent. And he talks about how it was a Soviet communist plan to infiltrate the United States culture and to break down families. And he started talking about social justice warriors, literally that term. And he explained that they'd be useful idiots. And he explained that after the changes were made that these guys were pushing, then they wouldn't realize what was going on until after the boot was on their neck, and they'd be dealt with very, very harshly because the new government would have no use for them.
Yeah, but that's the role of useful idiots, to help them gain power and then to be eliminated after the fact.
It's pretty chilling hearing this guy talk in these interviews. It must have been late 1980s or very early 1990s, and they're on YouTube. They're easy to find. I'll send you a link. But it's sort of like, well, this guy really did warn people that this stuff was coming, and here it is. And but literally, like, where did this come from? It must have been under the Obama years that this stuff was cooked up, and they must have
Thanks,
put the
Obama.
resources. Well, I have no idea, but even during the Bush years, I don't think this was really going on. But I don't know. I mean, really, really weird. But people have to ask and really think about this. Like, yeah, it's weird. These comments are offensive. They're attacking, these classic social things. They're attacking gender, like gender. What the heck do they attack next after gender? I can't even imagine.
We'll find out. I think we'll find out fairly soon here.
All right, we'll listen for it.
Let's see here. Let's check it out. Even if Jules Chen does not give us the answer, I'm pretty sure we'll find the answer eventually. That what's next after gender? Let's check it out. Let's see how many times we need a bigot counter. Like how many times can they call us bigots and ignorant and dumb, and in the Jules Chen video? That'd be interesting. I should have thought about that, but maybe for next time. Next time, chat.
I'm also going to be using examples outside of comic books to illustrate my points because all of this nonsense about forced diversity goes far beyond just comic books. See Star Wars, Doctor Who, and even modern-day cartoons. So when I mean a diverse cast of characters, I mean a group of people...
Yeah, the thing I heard about was the real big uproar that that this show, I think it's Grey's Anatomy, had a huge diverse cast. Yeah, everyone got upset over this, didn't they? Do you remember that?
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Anyone in the chat remember when they had a huge uproar? No, because you probably don't, because there was no uproar. Everyone was fine with it.
Yeah, no one cares.
Everyone was fine with it. If everyone was just mad about the diversity in general, then this would have had the same treatment. But it didn't get that same treatment.
Why is he showing this picture? He's claiming that people were bothered by this?
No, he's saying that diversity has always existed. And now for some reason we have a trouble.
Wait a minute. No, it hasn't always existed. It actually hasn't. We've come a really long way with giving everyone equal opportunities and creating a normalcy that everyone has a chance to participate in society and things like that. And that's not an easy social change to make. And it's been made pretty damn well. And not everybody has an equal experience. The only way to give everyone an equal living experience is to make it horrible for everyone. I mean, obviously, it's not obvious?
Make
that's
life
pretty
terrible for
obvious.
everyone, and we'll all be equal. If we're all equally miserable, that's fine.
I mean, if we were all farm animals, how would you give us an equal experience? You keep us around until you eat us.
You all get slaughtered. You all get slaughtered the same way, though. We don't get to ship to the same supermarket, but you all get slaughtered the same way. I'll head to the same slaughterhouse.
I sent you the link for another.
Been historically
oh, fantastic!
For another day. Yeah, we'll talk about another time, brother. But unbelievable.
Awesome.
Marginalized or just flat out underrepresented in media. This usually being women, people of color, LGBT, the disabled.
What criteria means underrepresented, and why is that so important? Because I've seen a lot of characters. Does this mean that people who go to movies nowadays cannot ever connect with in any way or any capacity with a person who does not look like them? Like if you're a white guy, you cannot ever connect with
this is what's so dehumanizing. Guess how old I am. Do you remember?
25?
No. Guess again.
26.
Jesus Christ. All right, I'm 50 years old, right? So as you get older, you notice in particular, like, all right, there's people that you relate to differently. Like I don't relate to, somebody who's 12 years old. You relate differently to people of different age groups, but you can relate to them. You can have a conversation with people. You also could have a different role. I mentor a lot of people with my publishing experience because I've had publishing experience so long, and I'm happy to do it if anybody is Comicsgate. Anyone ask a question, I've got an answer, and usually I'm right because I've been doing it so long. About that one specific narrow category. But that's a different role in society. And I was the youngest person when I was publishing comics. We sold comics through all the major comic distributors, and I was 16 years old working through another comics publishing company. So you won't take on different roles as time goes on. But this whole idea of a lack of ability to relate to other human beings if they don't exactly look the way that you look by some sort of a race, it's so dehumanizing. It's so creepy. It's so like pushing us further into being farm animals while they're busy supposedly trying to tell us, no, this is how we respect other people by having some sort of mirror image of them. The whole point is that we're human beings and we are worth something because we can relate to people no matter what the age group. And yes, no matter what the skin color is. And yes, no matter what their other life experiences or what culture that they came from. A culture that we live in currently, it's our shared experience, our shared social experience. So we all have to make some compromises to be able to fit into each other's social experience. And I'm no philosophy teacher here. It's just you kind of get this as time goes on and you deal with other people and you try to communicate with them and you understand where they're coming from. And you can never fully understand where anyone else is coming from, but you can try to respect and appreciate people. And so there's a lot of decency left in our society. We just have to continue to support it and cultivate it and laugh at these evil, creepy little people who have no idea what the F they're talking about. Oh, Literature Devil? Did he drop out? Hey, it's the Literature Devil show. Oh, I thought I was just saying something cool. So I got featured, but it may be that he fell out of his own chat. Maybe it was an internet connection. So this is probably, if Literature Devil did fall out of broadcasting his own channel, then that would mean this will probably be disconnected shortly. Just don't tell anyone. All right. Guys, does he do this sometimes? I'm sure he does. Anyway, it's great meeting all you guys. It's great being on with Literature Devil. No matter what happened to him, I'm sure he's okay. Maybe what we were saying was a little too true. It's now the Adam Post Show, and we're going to talk about College of the Dead for about 45 minutes. Get ready. No, it's been great to come on and talk about College of the Dead. It is on Indiegogo right now, College of the Dead Graduation Day. The book is completely done. This was the first book, and the first book was in black and white. The sequel is in color. It's doing very well. I'm really, really happy with the reception of it. The book will ship in 2020. Someone types, "This is normal. Keep it going." Well, I mean, I don't have control of the screen. I can't share my screen, so basically it's just Adam Post on Literature Devil. But I do think that if he dropped out for some reason, it would probably disconnect the show. Adam is my favorite 16-year-old comics creator. Thank you, Vasen. Is there anything else you guys want to comment in the chat? I can definitely talk about some of your comments, but then we'll wrap it up for sure, because that's not fair to keep it going. What was my inspiration for College of the Dead? That is a great question, Preston. Well, I do like zombie movies. I like zombie properties. And I love the idea of an apocalypse. I hope we don't have one, even though we're dealing with sort of one right now a little bit. There's so many cool apocalypse stories. To me, it's also kind of like a war story. It's like a war zone. So it's just interesting to see, all of life be threatened and change, but then to also see, the humanity of the characters, and to see like the characters kind of strive and overcome it, and then to also see how that is like a true life of merit, being able to survive a zombie apocalypse situation or a war zone. And that was one of the things that I really liked that in Walking Dead. I like how they handle a lot of things. But one of the things I didn't like was that it was how it was so constantly depressing. You really didn't see, you didn't have an opportunity for optimism as much in The Walking Dead. So I like the positive stories. Literature Devil has returned.
And we're back, chat. We're back. A little technical hiccup, but it has been resolved, at least for now.
Fantastic.
So I am back. But I think we can go ahead and stop with the Jules Chan video for at least for right now. Jules Chan, unfortunately, is packs in so much delicious food in such a little container that he required a 2-part last time. So we'll save the 2-part for next time.
Cool.
But
I got a few questions about High School of the Dead.
Sure.
And I have seen the anime. I haven't seen the comic. I know it was a comic. I have seen the show, and it was pretty cool. Like anime stuff, it was like super sexualized, as anime like tends to get. And they traveled around like outside the high school a lot. For us, we're focused on being on the college campus, and it's kind of what you'd see in a Night of the Living Dead type of story. Yeah, or like the Walking Dead TV show in its earlier seasons when it was a little smaller and it was a little more focused, and they weren't doing their forced diversity or whatever else weird stuff that they were doing,
Right.
just to cast the characters and follow through. So it's different from High School of the Dead in that way. And this is a mix of the students and a couple of the professors.
Oh yeah, I've never seen High School of the Dead. I'm not that big of an anime watcher, unfortunately. I like the stuff and the style. It's just I haven't seen that many anime. I used to think I had quite a good I had a good retinue of anime under my belt, and then I've actually talked to people who are really into anime, and
Oh my
there's
God,
like
there's so much anime in the world.
10,000 shows for every one I've seen. So
Yeah, I me too. Like I have really not seen enough to ever say like, I know anime at all. It's amazing. It's a whole other world.
let's see. Insult to the human race. Thank you very much for the 5. Good characters don't need diversity quotas to justify their inclusion. Exactly. One of the many things apparently too difficult for these people to comprehend. Yes. Good characters are reason why people like characters in general is because they have a humanity in them. People really connect with humanity. That's what Joseph Campbell's Hero of a Thousand Faces, the hero's journey. That's why it's so important because the hero's journey is not just from Greek culture. It's not just from modern day. It's a formula that humanity likes, and it spans cultures, and it spans cultural divides, and it spans eras. So you can go back down thousands of years, you can go to modern day, you can go from American culture, you can go to Middle Eastern culture, Chinese culture, any sort of like a Latin American culture. All these cultures, all these people like the same sort of formula, which is why it's a hero of a thousand faces. That hero has been done thousands of times in several different iterations in several different cultures over thousands and thousands of years, because that formula represents humanity. Within that formula, that is the journey of humanity, going from one person who is not that experienced, your novice, your greenhorn, overcoming several obstacles to get where they want to go, to overcome their journey, and eventually you reach the end, and at the end you've gained wisdom. That is the journey that everyone goes on. It's humanity that we connect with.
We're all our own heroes, and we all need to go outside of our comfort zone and go outside of our world of experience to pursue something that's worth pursuing for ourselves and or for our tribe, our family, our friends. And there's mentoring along the way as well. It's a very classic part of it. And you need to have a little humility and learn from people that have experience, and trust a worthwhile mentor, and learn your skills, and then take those skills and go and acquire that thing out in society that you're not familiar with, the wilds. And it's interesting to tie it back to Mike S. Miller. Like, he learned a lot from Ethan Van Sciver, but he wasn't willing to respect him as a mentor. He's like a bad Jedi, if you think about it. And he's constantly trying to come back, and destroy what made him kind of strange. But in any case, yeah, that classic story that's so inspirational, that lets you know that, look, whatever it is you're trying to do in life, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people have succeeded on their journey before. So what you want to know, and you can appreciate, and you innately know and learn from watching like the classic Star Wars, is you can be that hero. You can struggle, and it's going to cost you something, but you can get what you're trying to go after. What an incredible message to give people, just not even hope, but a freaking plan. Hope plus a plan. I mean, that's a credit to society. That's why stories are so important and so incredible, to pass information, but to pass those hopes and those plans, so you can get where you got to go and you really want to go. It's your life to spend. It doesn't belong to these social justice warrior freaks.
Exactly.
You spend your life the way you want to spend it.
And this is exactly why they can't make things that we like, because they have no humanity in them. They're NPCs. They don't know what humanity is. They have a lot of trouble humaning very well, and so they don't put in humanity in their stories or their characters. They're just archetypes, or there's caricatures. They're just political agendas. No one wants to go see that because there's no humanity.
But I think they can bounce. I have a hope that they can bounce back, because there's still so much of society left that if they stop those medications they're taking that make them act that freaking way, and just go out into the sunshine a little bit. And, it's okay to be a little jealous of the success of all the rest of us who don't do that stuff, and just become people again. It's in them. They are people. There are things innately, like, the relationship between father and son and mother and child and brother and brother. And, there's good inside of all those people, but they're ultimately going to have to abandon what they're holding on to way too tightly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because as you say that, they do not understand how the sun works either. They do not understand the sun. They spend so much time in the sun that they have no idea how light works, which is why they called a lot of artists racist because they drew a character with brown skin with lighter skin when she was outside than when she was inside, and because she had lighter skin outside and because the sun was lighting up her skin, those artists are racist because they quote unquote whitewashed her. They don't know how the sun. They don't know how the sun works. They don't know how lighting works. They don't know how the inside changes things in perspective to your vision.
Everything they do is just hardcore petty, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Everything
all
is just
petty.
hard. If it's not petty, they ain't doing it.
They cannot understand why people don't like The Last Jedi. They can't understand why people don't like these new quote unquote diverse things. It's because they decided to put in diversity, but they forgot to put in the humanity.
You're also leaving out, but this is how stuff works. Sometimes you do, if you're producing stuff, like I've published a lot of comics, I've published more than 1,000 comics. There's stuff that people don't like that you think that they would like. And then when they don't like it, the answer is you do not get hysterical. You alter your plans to find something. Oh, what did I learn from this? Okay, I learned that people aren't interested. I actually offered a comic book that I thought was an interesting kind of cutesy idea called Horace the Dancing Christmas Tree. But it was something just off the top of my head. And I was like, all right, well, I don't think I'll get rich doing this. We should at least be able to break even producing Horace the Dancing Christmas Tree. We could not. We didn't sell enough copies of that to comic book stores. And we didn't produce it. And I didn't go on a killing spree. We produced hundreds of other things instead of that did work, and other things didn't work. And that we're not supposed to like everything that mass media does. I mean, just to think about how offensive and oppressive that is. Like, well, mass media does this and you don't like it, you're a bigot. It's like, no, they're offering something to us. If we like it, if we relate to it, if we find it interesting, fine. If not, then yeah, we may not become interested in it. So we might like something else. See ya.
Mandatory viewing. That's what they want. They want mandatory viewing.
There was Coke and then there was New Coke. A lot of people didn't like New Coke. It was sweeter. It tasted more like Pepsi. They were just offended. This is interesting, actually, because if you think about it, like the world accepted that, yeah, they were trying to make New Coke so it would be more competitive with Pepsi, because Pepsi was winning taste tests, which were really probably style contests. Who knows? But then when people didn't like New Coke, there wasn't like this mass slaughter. There wasn't everyone should die in a ditch. No one was calling anyone a racist because they didn't like New Coke. They didn't favor it. They didn't like it. No one questioned anybody's motives either. It was like, oh, you don't like it.
You don't like New Coke, you're a bigot.
Yeah, well, we see you. Maybe you're a Nazi.
Yeah,
you know how offensive the whole Nazi thing is? Like, my grandparents, my grandmother had brothers and sisters that were murdered by the Nazis. She wasn't murdered because she wanted to explore the United States when she was in the 1920s, when she was like a young teenager, and she was able to get over here however the hell she got over here, and she came from Poland. Like, it's actually not even it's not even 100 years since the actual Nazis, and these guys throw around these terms, and even Jewish people do it. And even Jewish people do it. It's like, you guys have no freaking decency that you're using symbols and putting Nazi symbols on people. But you're using names and symbols that only have power because of the blood sacrifice that was of millions of people. That is why they have power. I assure you, if you guys ever want to make a popular symbol like the Literature Devil logo, if 10, 12 million people were murdered in the name of the Literature Devil's logo, it would be a powerful symbol. It really would be. It would be. Indeed. But to think that people would use that for their own means, for their own purposes, there's a whole, not to go off on this for too long, but just, it is important stuff, is there's a whole never again movement with the Jews, that there's like, education out there, and they say never again to let Jews get murdered like that. Mm. And that's how you would sincerely convey if what your intention was that we want to warn the public, this is danger. These are dangerous people, these conservatives, whatever, these people that support the president, whatever. Like, these are dangerous people. We could all be hurt. We got to really stop them. You can't let this happen. Look at how the Never Again Jewish movement did it before all of these social justice warriors came out. The way they expressed what their concerns were and the way they made their points and communicated, like, look, we have to be careful about what's happening in culture. We should never let this happen again. Everyone should remember, but all in a just a respectful, decent, dignified way. Complete opposite of these garbage people, as the expression goes, trying to co-opt the murder of trying to co-opt the murder of millions of people. I mean, that's beyond war profiteering. That's bad.
Oh, yeah.
That's
awful.
so terrible. Like, don't do that. Literature devil, don't kill millions of people. But if he does, let's
I'll
use
think
his
about it.
symbol. Then
I'll
get
think
rich.
about it. I'll consider not doing that again.
Yeah. But just give it some thought. I just want to try to implore you. Please don't do that. But if you do that after you're gone, we're going to use your symbol and get rich.
That's fine.
Hey, what can you do about it? You'll be gone by then.
Go back to how you said that stories are important. I believe that sincerely, that stories are important. They are probably one of the most important things that we can ever produce as a society in our culture, because it gives the future and a look as to what our mindsets were, what our values were, and what values to look at. Because that's what stories were, to thrill you, to teach you, to do all sorts of things. Because there's things that textbooks can't do. They can tell you facts, but they can't weave you a tale that you just love and remember forever. And the thing is,
how we make sense of the world.
Yeah.
If you take that away from people, they're defenseless. They can't communicate. They can't organize. They can't take care of each other.
They
lack
this. That's probably why they're trying to destroy it and repaint it as themselves.
The ability to put things in context.
Yeah.
To have hope, to have a plan. You can give people hope and a plan. Like, they don't need anything else, especially not Americans. We don't need anything else. Westerns, other than hope and a plan, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we sure will. Insult to the human race, to the 5. Such careless name throwing only helps actual racists and Nazis by making it a harmless label, even maybe even something to be proud of. Yeah, exactly. The best thing, SJWs and NPCs, these far leftist weirdos, are the best things that happen to Nazis and white supremacists. The only people they hate ever, because they have watered down these titles. They watered down these labels where they're almost meaningless. Someone says Nazi, it used to have meaning and impact. Now it really doesn't, because people are seeing, well, they call that guy a Nazi. Well,
yeah,
they're
constantly dehumanizing this Jules Chan fool is talking about, Ethan Van Sciver should get thrown in a ditch. It's like, when they tell you that that's the next progressive plan, to do what they do in communist country, gulags. Jordan Peterson talks about, is it Alex Solzhenitsyn? I don't recall his name, but he wrote a story about a beautiful account of his life and how he was able to survive the gulags in what was it, as recently as the 1970s, I think his book came out. And he was in the gulags, and he was talking about how it wasn't his fault that he was thrown into the gulags in communist Russia. It wouldn't be our fault if we were thrown into gulags. But by taking responsibility for himself, by taking responsibility for his own actions, he was able to keep himself sane and figure out, like, all right, in context, here's how I could have been responsible for my own actions. Like, that kind of powerful ability to think and then to write that down and be able to communicate it with other people is really just fascinating.
Let's see here. Tyler Preston, thanks for the 5. The miniseries V did their Nazi metaphor a lot more tasteful than this. Politics and stories is not a problem in and of itself. That's how they do it. Exactly. It's, you put story first. You just have some politics in the background. Watchmen did this very well, because they were inspired by politics to write a good story. They weren't trying to push politics upon you. They used politics as a background, as a story engine, but it wasn't, here's what's right, here's what's wrong. And that's exactly how it should be. You can there's no reason why you can't put politics in stories. It's just, don't put it above the story, don't make it trump the story. It's not politics plus story, it's story, a little bit of politics sprinkled on.
One of my favorite books on story was Robert McKee's book, Story. And he talks about a story as an argument, where you show both sides. And at the end, you've made your theme, you're making your point of what your story is, and you show where in your specific contextualized situation you are correct. And you can make any point that you want to make, even if it's even if it is a racist point, if you want to do that, or whatever the hell you want to do. Like, that's the power of the tool of the story, and then you're crafting it the way you want to craft it. But you do have to show both sides, and it has to be constructed, it has to make sense, not these ridiculous feminist power fantasies.
These are power. There's power fantasies. It's basically what they are. They're political power fantasies. And I remember Neil Gaiman actually, because Neil Gaiman really, really, really understands the importance of stories. He's one of the few authors that I've listened to that really at least speaks on the importance of this and truly understands how important stories are. He told a story about how stories affected people. And when I forgot which story it was. I think it might have been Coraline. It was Coraline. So this one woman, she bought Coraline a long time ago, and she read it, and unfortunately, she went through some events in her life that were just awful. I forgot what they were. I don't want to make them up, but they were just awful. They were terrible, terrible life events. I think some maybe including abusive partners, things like that. And whenever when everything got too overwhelming for her, she ran back to Coraline, and she read it again. And one day she met Neil Gaiman and told him all about this, and said that in her mind, if Coraline could make it through the things she did, then there's no reason why she could make it through the things she was undergoing. And it saved her life. Stories can save your life because people find meaning in there. You find meaning in just story, not just because it's political or tackles a social issue, but just because they see people going through hard times and overcoming them. We can see meaning from that. And when we see meaning from that, we can ingest that meaning and we can overcome things in our own lives. That's a big part of the importance of stories.
Hope and a plan, brother. Hope and a plan. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're human beings. We need that. And we need to lift each other up too. Just by being enthusiastic. If you could be enthusiastic, it translates to other people. So if anyone ever asks me, how am I doing? I'm always doing great. I love how you started your stream. That energy is fantastic. And it translates to people. So, it's a gift to people, and that's what we got to be putting out there, and just keep things moving, keep things positive, keep things going forward, and give other people opportunities when you can. Encourage people. Don't encourage people, but you do it sincerely. You encourage things that you see that you like sincerely. You can do that for people, and it can mean the world to them. It can make their week. That's why, like, retweeting a stream, retweeting a campaign, if it's a comic campaign, liking a campaign, giving people advice when you're giving them good advice, and making sure that they feel welcome if they have a question, if you've got answers to things.
Absolutely.
It's incredibly rewarding. Just helping another person out.
And see, Lady Gravemaster says this: true evil exists. When you see it, you recognize it instantly. It's a deep, yawning pit that threatens to consume everything, and it makes your blood run cold. These people have clearly never seen it. Oh no, they have definitely not. They've been too busy being coddled. They've been too busy locked up in their little safe space. They have no idea what real adversity is. They have no idea what real evil is. No idea at all. It's been catered to and placated to and pandered to.
That was really well said, actually.
It really was. It really was.
Lady, Lady is probably a regular in your chats. Lady's a writer.
Oh, she's become one, yeah. I think they said she just found my channel, but yeah, she's been in here quite a few times.
Yeah. That's a writer talking like that. Well put.
But it's absolutely true. They have no idea what real adversity is. They grew up reading about it, but they never experienced it. A lot of these people tend to be like a middle class, gated community types. With some of them have a trust fund. I've learned. I think they lament of being born in the poor parts of a rich place in the city or something. These people don't really know what it's like to feel desperation or real adversity. Sometimes they think they like to think that they do because they can imagine it. But they don't. Has never gone through it.
Yeah, going through it is definitely different. Yeah, people who have been through real adversity, people who appreciate, because that causes you to appreciate things. Thank you for help on this. Thank you for that. That puts things in perspective when you hear yourself saying thank you a few times. These don't seem like the thank you types either.
Oh no, they're the more like this is all types. This is all I get types, not the thank you very much types. This is
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if someone gave them something, they would say, "This is it.
Yeah.
I deserve more."
The entitlement.
Because if you're given $1,000 and you say, "Oh, I'm just going to spend on this and that," but if you earn $1,000, you say, "Well, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to deal this out." Because I put my hard work into this. I put a lot of sweat and tears into this thing, into this $1,000, and I'm going to spend it carefully on things I need, rather as opposed to just being given things. And then if you're given things too much, you become entitled to it over time, and then you're just like, okay, well, I'm getting where's my $1,000?
Right. And dependent on it.
Yeah, I didn't earn it, but you've been giving it to me. So where's my $1,000?
Yeah. There's no greatness that's going to come out of that. That's for sure. No success.
Greatness is not handed to you; it's earned. Greatness has to be earned. I'm sorry to say, SJWs and NPCs, but you can't just be handed the reins to a very lucrative IP and then expect to be great with whatever you produce. You have to earn it. You have to be good. You have to do your homework. You have to learn characterization, learn these people, learn how these characters are produced, learn the writing and the lore, and then maybe you can maybe reach greatness. But you have to achieve it beforehand.
And your audience will let you know if you reached it or not.
Oh yeah, they'll be the
They'll
ones.
make it very clear.
You are not the one who judges whether or not you're great. Okay? That's
Well,
what
in
these
my
people think
case,
you do.
absolutely. I'm pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah,
It's been my new word lately. People like it. I'm going to use it more. Fantastic. Fantastic.
absolutely fantastic. I love that word. I use it a lot. And but normal cases, if you're not Adam Post, then the audience are the ones who tell you you have reached it. The audience are the people who tell you that you have reached greatness, and that's where normal people differ from these SJW NPC types, because they already think they're great. And if the audience tells them that they're not, then the audience are bigots and Nazis and racists and sexists and all those ists and phobes sort of thing. They already think they're great. They are great by virtue of existing and have written for already lucrative IP that they themselves did not invent and had no hand in creating.
As they're busily subverting expectations proudly.
Absolutely, subvert my expectations, Daddy. Anyway, we hit the 3-hour mark. I think we'll go ahead and close out the stream here.
What a great show. Really
Thank you very
enjoyed it.
much. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. And thank you in chat for joining me on this wonderful, wonderful Monday morning. I hope you all have a fantastic, fantastic rest of your day. And I will see you all tomorrow morning. I'll see you all, of course, next time.